What is good, everybody? Welcome back to Real Fan Sports. My name is Zach, your fan list for the evening, here with my partner, Nonfiction. What's
What's
good,
good?
baby?
What's good, man? How you doing?
Yeah, we here, baby. We here. I'm gonna be like overusing the crap out of these things today, but we're here. We're here. How you doing, Non?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself, brother?
Oh, I've been living the dream. Like start school up in a couple days. Trying to get everything set up on the channel. We have surpassed the 3,800 mark. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah, no, exactly. Thank you.
Crazy, man. 50 subscribers, just over 50 subscribers just overnight. We got off last night. We were at like 3750, and we're like, oh, it'd be nice to get
Yeah,
to 3,800 by next week. And we're like, oh, well, we'll get in the morning, I guess. So
yeah,
that
exactly.
that that worked out fun. But today we're gonna go ahead and do a stream that is a little bit different from, well, something that we did in the very beginning. We did it as a edited video, and now we're gonna go ahead and just see how y'all feel about it being streamed. We're gonna do a little talk show. We're gonna go over a couple different topics and points going on around this week in sports, and that's why it's called This Week in Sports, which with your fanalists. Um, you want to just go ahead and get right into it? You got anything else you want to talk about before we get in?
No, no, good to go, brother.
All right, let's get it, man. All
Yeah,
right. First big topic is one that I think everybody can agree with, and that is Lionel Messi playing for Inter Miami being an absolute cheat code in the MLS.
yeah,
Who allowed
yeah.
this man to come and join the MLS is what I'm trying to find out.
They definitely put their money in the greatest investment they could have done. That's the greatest investment they could have done.
Well, with David Beckham owning Inter Miami, David Beckham is a guy that came in from Gavin Truman. Appreciate you for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel.
Welcome.
Um,
Thank you.
but David Beckham, being world renowned soccer player, obviously nowhere
Hmm.
near the level as Messi, but he did his thing out in
Yeah,
England, came to the MLS, worked with LA's team, and did some phenomenal things. He owns Inter Miami now, and why wouldn't Messi come here and come and play, man? I mean, a lot of Spanish speaking.
there you
Goodness,
go.
tongue twister. Spanish speaking people live out there in Miami, so feels like at home. It's also got a nice little party scene, everything like that. A lot of pretty beaches, pretty women, all that good
Mm.
stuff. But just to take a look at how the impact that Messi has had so far on this team, he's played 6 games. Do you want to get a guess at how many goals he's had in just 6 games so far?
I know we talked about this. I'm assuming it's going to be what, like 6 or 7.
No, it's nine.
Is it
Nine
really?
goals
Okay.
already. Messi in just 6 games has had 9 goals, 1 assist. His first goal came in probably the most messy way possible, where he came in late. I think it was the 57th minute. He came and made his debut for Inter Miami. He had a chance at a goal, got called off sides. The game is just about
Mm.
over. We're into stoppage time. In the 93rd minute, he takes a free kick and just drills it into the back of the net to give them the win. And like I said, in Messi fashion, coming up big off his free kick and able to knock it in. Following that game, he scored 2 goals in the next 3 games. Each
Oh,
game, he
really?
scored 2 goals, 6 goals in 3 games. Um, but it's not just that. He's embracing the U.S. culture of a little bit of showboating and fun with his
Oh, yeah, yeah.
celebrations. He's always had his couple of unique celebrations, but he's bringing in the Marvel universe. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I have not seen that. Okay, what's this about?
So far he's done a couple of different Marvel celebrations. He has his Spider-Man celebration where he goes and shoots a web, and I believe he shoots the web in the direction of David Beckham. So that was funny
Oh,
enough.
wow.
He does a Thor celebration where he just sticks out his arm, waiting for the hammer to come. And then he's also done Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, showing
Okay.
some respect to Chadwick Boseman and the family over there. But he's
Mhm.
just done phenomenal things, man. Like, could this be? It has to be the best MLS player to ever step foot in the United States, right?
I mean, it'd be hard to disagree with that statement. So
Right.
yes, you're right, brother. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, the way Messi is, Messi obviously he's one of the greatest in the world. In my opinion, I think he's the greatest that we've ever seen. I mean, you have guys like people will argue about Ronaldo. You got some old greats, Pele, Ronaldinho, the fellow Argentinian who I don't know why I'm forgetting his name right now. But what Messi has done here is everyone was hyped up about Zlatan Ibrahimovic whenever he came and played for the LA Galaxy and what he did. But Messi is making that look like a walk in the park with how he's playing right now. And he's leading this team to a chance to be able to win a couple different trophies and add to his medal room with the League Cup, the U.S. Open Cup, and the MLS Cup. All these things are up for grabs, and I would not be surprised if Messi and Inter Miami does not take them all.
Oh, I'd be surprised too. I mean, like you said, it says right there, he is a cheat code. He's definitely a cheat code. It's not fair. I mean, unfortunately, they did everything by the books. It's just they had enough money to bring in one of the greats. So
Right.
hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is. 40 in the building. What's good with your 40? Welcome, welcome, welcome. He said, first
What's good?
gang.
What's
40,
good,
I
40?
think
Thank
you're
you for
actually
stopping by,
first
brother.
this time. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for popping in. Hope life's been well. But enough about the MLS. Let's go into our next topic, which is going to be a little bit of NFL.
This guy.
Sean Payton versus Russell Wilson. And we
Yes.
say versus, even though they're on the same team, Russell,
Yeah.
starting quarterback, Sean Payton, the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. But the dynamic between the two is very different in how they play football, how they deal with media, how they deal with social media presence, and all these different things. And it feels like they're trying to make things work, but a lot of us feel like when you look under the covers, you're in for a surprise of the turmoil that's actually developing it with them. What's your thoughts with this dynamic between these two guys?
I mean, I know we talked about it off, outside of stream, but it's one of those things where Russell Wilson, the type of game he plays is he's a running quarterback. He's kind of like a scat back, to be honest with you. That's just happy to throw the ball really well on the run. But Sean Payton, in his experience as a head coach, that's not the type of quarterback he's ever had. So I think in this situation, I think Sean Payton should focus less on the New York Jets and more on his own backyard, because there's more you have to tame in a situation. You have to make sure Russell Wilson is, like we said, from the QB ranking and also the team ranking. Is he hearing footsteps already on a constant basis? Because he's underthrowing players, he's overthrowing players, he's running
Mm-hmm.
too early, he's not really adjusting to what the defense breaks
Yep.
down. He doesn't look comfortable. He looks like
No.
he's ready to already be done.
Yeah. I mean, I can't disagree. 40 said this time, all the time. Oh, my bad, 40. No disrespect. No disrespect.
I play.
One thing for sure that is different with this team, and not just the quarterback play, but Sean Payton's expecting Russell, to do things similar to what Drew Brees did. And I think Sean is, a smart enough offensive mind to understand that their qualities are very different. But Sean also spent many, many years with the Saints developing a very strong offensive line. And that is something that they do not have over at the Denver Broncos.
Yes.
Their poor O line led to a lot of pressures in their first preseason game. Russell Wilson statistically didn't look bad, but when you watched his play, it was really rough. He ended up playing until 7 minutes, a little past 7 minutes into the second quarter. So he played a quarter and a half
wow.
as a starting quarterback and as a aging veteran. That's rare to see. Normally they play maybe one series. If anything, they're playing two, and they're getting out by the first quarter. There's no way they're playing a second quarter in preseason. But they had to wait and see for the ball to cross that touchdown plane in order to pull him out. That didn't come until 7 minutes left on a 4th and 5. They had a 3rd and 5. Jerry Jeudy bricks for hands, dropped the ball. He ends up getting his redemption. Sean was like, screw this, we're not getting a field goal. And I'll tell you what, if they don't score in that play, I think Russell plays another series and might finish off the whole entire half.
That's crazy. With just the fact that you're saying that, it almost feels like last year with the Raiders in Jacobs, Josh Jacobs being disrespected and putting in for the preseason. I feel like even though Sean Payton's probably not going to cope to this, but is this a little bit of disrespect trying to see, okay, maybe he's not who we think he is, and let's put him in there with the ones and the twos to see how far he really can go, how good he really still is. It's
Hmm.
just it's a question. I mean, like you said, most quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, are not playing that deep into the preseason.
Right. Unless they're a rookie. Like that's the only
Yeah,
way. Rookie
true,
or maybe a
very
second
true.
or third. It's third year maybe, but even third years normally they have it figured out. They know they're going to be the starters. And I don't
Yeah,
think this is a competition of who's going to be the starter. I
I
think
don't
it's a
think so either.
I think it's a mixture of just trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and what they physically what's their limits and where they can try to stretch out their offense, because that's one thing Sean Payton likes to do. Sean likes to play a very dynamic offense. He likes to mix a lot of run and pass. He likes a couple trickery plays here and there. But if they can't get the basic things right in preseason, where your defense is playing basic coverages, they're not really normally showing a whole lot of blitz and stuff like that. You're running basic offensive plays. You're not opening your playbook, and you're having struggles doing the simple things, the quick five and ends, screen passes, little go routes, like the simple things. It's going to be a
Mhm.
long season. Even though I have hope for the Broncos, it worries me as to when they're going to be able to get this together and if they're going to be able to get this together.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I feel like if if they're struggling already, and this is a time where you're supposed to be afforded mistakes. Once that season starts in just a few weeks, that goes out the window. So
Yes.
once that go out the window, will this team have some semblance of what a team is supposed to look like, or will they still look like they're in preseason?
Right, right, right. Let's see. I know I sent you. I think I sent it on another account. So, and not just talk about the play of football, but also just the dynamic between these two guys. To the media, Payton said that Russell Wilson's performance last week was sharp.
Mhm.
But I think the biggest difference between these two is their strict media policies. Sean Payton is not allowing a whole lot of interviews. He's not allowing a lot of this cute stuff to go, and that's something that Russell Wilson has always done. He's always been friendly with the media. He's been a guy that let me see. I'll just pull it up on my phone. Oh, I wonder if it actually got deleted, because now I'm not even seeing it on here. Um, but he's already we already know he's made Russ like get rid of a lot of his staff that walks around and follows him around.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
aren't allowed to deal with a lot of the media stuff that they've normally would be doing during the
Mhm.
preseason game. He had very, very strict rules that some people said it was uncomfortable at first of, whenever you get off the field, I don't want to see you taking your uniforms off and stuff like that. I don't want to see you doing interviews while the game's still going on. I don't want to see you diddling on your phones and stuff like that. I want you to be locked in and engaged with the second and third strings that are out there too. He's trying to create a culture in this Denver Broncos team that last year didn't have one.
I mean, I think it's one of those situations that if Russell Wilson does not buy into this, that team is not going to be cohesive. He has to buy in for everybody else to buy in because they were here before Sean Payton came, so they already kind of have a quasi cohesiveness. If they don't put that together, then it's not going to work out. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And I did actually find the rules that he set during the first preseason game. Uniforms off after you're not playing is not allowed. You're not allowed to have sunglasses. No Gilligan hats or bucket hats. Don't know what he has against bucket hats. I mean, Sean, you're still rocking
I
the
like I
visor.
like
It's
bucket
2023. I
hats.
like bucket hats too. And then no interviews during the game. And I think it just has a lot to do with just trying to get him that to work as a team. But he's coming in as a new head coach, a coach that is established. But do you feel like it's too strict for nowadays? Like you're trying to be the Belichick in a not a Belichick year. This is what's the head coach down there in Miami? That's the type of players that are
Oh
coming
yeah.
in. They want those fun loving, just chill, relaxed coaches, and he's trying to put the pressure on them to act a certain way. And I don't know if it's gonna work.
I don't know if it's going to work either because we're deep into the social media age, and Sean Payton not being somebody like myself who did not grow up with social media as a child, I understand where he's coming from. But even John Gruden had to bend with the Raiders to have them buy in fully. Sean Payton is going to have to do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. They have to be some give and take there. What's good, everybody? I see Slim South in the building. What's good with you, Slim? How you living, brother?
What's
Appreciate
good,
you
everybody?
stopping by. Let's see. I see Nate in the building too. He said, "Howdy, Balzac." What's good? What's good, Dave? How you doing, brother? And Prawny J. Glad you all are here. So I think that goes ahead and brings us up to our third topic, running right through these, and that's going to be the dirty process that's going on with the 76ers. The process that's been going on now for what, 8 years of
Yeah.
Joel Embiid trying to get a NBA championship down in Philly, and every time we feel like there's a sense of hope, oh, they're getting there, they're climbing.
Yeah.
They fell last year. Harden, I was a big follower. I was like, man, they can do things. Not so much. What's going on with the 76ers, and why is this process not working?
It's a situation where I think the process is defunct, is no longer where the team should be. They need it's almost like do they just kick everybody to the curb and start all over? I know they've invested so much money. I mean, it's one
Yeah.
in with Embiid finally getting the MVP, but the problem with that was he did not play like MVP in the postseason. He did not play like MVP. Constantly throwing himself to the ground, trying to get foul
He
calls,
played like
whining when
a
he didn't get the
baby.
calls.
Yep.
He really did. And
There was several games that we pointed out in disbelief that we covered, that we were like, where is Embiid? Is he invisible? Oh, no, he's still on the other side of the court. Why
yeah,
isn't he demanding for the ball? Why is his post moves all of a sudden so much slower? Why is he so ready to dish the rock instead of take him down underneath? Why is he giving up when they're only down 10, not even midway through the fourth quarter? Is it a coach
I,
problem? Is it a player problem? Is it the higher up problem? What is the issue?
okay. So I'm going. If for me, I want to go back to Ben Simmons. Just like when Ben Simmons had his issues and everybody started kind of clown Ben Simmons, the one thing I fault Joel Embiid with, he never, even though he might have felt a certain way, he never came to the point of defending Ben ever. He never defended Ben. He even in a on in a state talking. I mean, not in a state, but on the court before the season started, he blamed Ben Simmons for what they couldn't do, what they couldn't achieve. Not he didn't point the finger at himself. Like he just said, he always says, we need to do better, we need to do better, but he didn't say, I need to do better. He never takes accountability. He never takes his own accountability. It's always, we have to do better, which true, you do as a team, you do, but sometimes you have to say, I have to do better. LeBron's done it, Steph's done it. Like the players we consider the greats have done it. Jokic has done it. Why can't you do it? He never does it. He never takes full accountability.
Yeah. I mean, I can't agree more with you. I mean, like, there's no way I could disagree with what you're saying. He's embraced this whole, when he first started with his troll, the Joel troll, whatever, whatever they want to call him. At first it was funny, but it's because it was funny because he was trolling other teams and other players, and like some people, crazy fans in different fan bases and stuff like that. He started taking it too far when he started messing with his people that he's supposed to have their back. Like, why do you expect them to give them their all, even though you're clowning, and we know you're clowning? Social media runs with everything, and it's a matter of, he probably just doesn't care, but you got to think how that negatively affects other people, because you might say something as a joke. There's going to be a news article that's going to come out and say that it wasn't a joke, and then everybody's going to dog him, and that's exactly what happened with Ben Simmons. Did Ben Simmons deserve some of that heat? Yeah, a little bit, but you never had his back. You had his back like months later. You were like, "Oh yeah, I was just playing. Like, he's a really good." But no, shut up. It's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late. You already
And
but go ahead.
And I think that'll always be a downfall for him, because to me, and I've said it in so many times, I believe Embiid does not have the heart to be a leader. He can have all the physical skill and gifts and abilities. He doesn't not have the heart to be a leader.
I can't disagree, man. Notorious says, let's go Nugs, let's go Nugs, let's go Nugs. What up, Notorious? Welcome back to the channel, man. I hope you're doing well. Nate says, we all need to be talking about Kaman Maluch. He played his first big boy game versus the Boomers last night. 16-year-old 7-footer. My goodness. I don't even know who that is, Nate. Nate, if you got a link or anything like that, please send it to our DMs on Instagram. We can maybe pull it up at the end of the show today and talk about it a little bit or look at them. Slim says, NBA is full of divas. NBA has definitely turned into a diva league, for sure. There's a lot of players that have started taking more aspirations as far as fashion than actually playing ball, which is kind of crazy. Kyle Kuzma, for one. Kyle Kuzma was a guy that I actually thought had some good potential in the league. And then he wants to dress up in like a furry, like pink balloon coat or whatever the heck it was that he wore.
That's the one with the long sleeves?
Yeah, the sweater. That's what it was. And it was just like, first off, you're saying it's fashion. No, it's just weird. Like, why are you spending more time on your outfit pregame than your jumper? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Your game, but to get back to the point at hand, so there has been obviously a bunch of rumors going around between James Harden and Joel Embiid. James Harden, for one, has now called out Daryl Morey, the president for the Philadelphia 76ers, and called him a liar. He said, paraphrasing, that I will never play for him again. He is a liar and I will not stand for it. And this all came because of the fact that Harden kind of put him in this situation. This was probably the most interesting thing about it, is that Harden had the option to go and join free agency and then go and sign a deal with anyone, anywhere, right? But he, thinking about his money, as he should, he's like, well, I'm going to sign a deal with the 76ers to guarantee me what I want exactly, and then I'm going to have them trade me to somewhere else where I know I'm still going to get the money that I want regardless, but I'm going to go play for the team that I want now. Well, guess what, Harden? The world doesn't run like that. Like, you can't just sign a deal with someone and then feel like, instead of testing free agency when you are a free agent, and think that some other team's just going to pick you up and they're going to be able to work out a deal that's perfect. They're going to go ahead and give the 76ers exactly what they want. They're going to take on your big old contract and everything's going to work, within each other. So now he's mad that they were not able to work a deal with the Clippers or any other teams that they talked to. And they said they have given up on trade talks with Harden, that it didn't go anywhere. And so now they are not trading him. And that's why he's calling him a liar. What do you think about this whole situation?
Now, with the situation with the sign trade, I was thinking back to when the Warriors actually had KD do a sign to sign a contract so they can trade him and get kind of recoup what they were going to lose with his departure from the team. I assume with that's what Harden was trying to do, but I think teams felt Harden's price tag was just too high to take that.
That's
chance.
what I think too.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Daryl Morey, who is somebody that said Harden is better than Michael Jordan, like that relationship has fallen apart. And the process is, what'd you call it again? The dirty process?
The dirty process.
This process is done. Like, they need to close up shop, retool, bring in new people. I know there's swirling rumors right now, and one of the biggest ones is the fact that the New York Knicks and the 76ers are in conversation for possible future trade talks. But then I know that Celtics Twitter is going bananas, yelling at Celtics staff to say, "Hey, go get Embiid." And I'm like, I don't know if that would still be the best answer. Yes, there's great talent, but it's something about those three together that I think they still won't form one heart.
Well, the one thing that if Embiid goes there, I think it'll be good, because Embiid will no longer have to be a leader. They already have a leader there, so he gets out of that scapegoat. But Embiid's also going to have to understand that they're a 3-point shooting team, and he's not going to get the ball in the rock as often. He'll still get it more. They'll still work the ball down low more, since if that does end up happening. But it's changing their whole dynamic as an offense. Now, I know we talked about this last night when we were deciding what topics we want to talk about. I went ahead and did some research today, and, obviously, Embiid has deleted all of his 76ers content off of all social medias,
Crazy.
took out it out the bio and everything like that. And there was a article by MSN, and I'm not sure if they were interviewing Embiid themselves or if it was just another beat reporter that worked for the 76ers, but they have came to the conclusion that they think that Embiid is just trying to troll everybody like he always does, and that apparently the relationship is really good. So, I mean, we don't know what the truth is behind
Yeah.
it. I mean, to spark adversity and conversation, I would like to say that he wants out, but at the same time, I don't think it makes sense. But at the same time, it could, because maybe that's also the reason why they don't want to get rid of Harden, because maybe they get rid of Embiid instead, and then it's Harden's team. And we saw what Harden did the couple of games when Embiid was out. He had a couple stinkers, but he also had a couple of games where he dropped 42 and 46 points. So that's interesting as well.
But I think that what he did was what Harden normally does. He's not going to do that 4 games in a row. He's going to give you 1 or 2 in a series, but he's expecting that other teammate to step up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it didn't work out the way he assumed it was going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of these guys are just extremely talented players.
Mhm.
I think Harden had his best years with the Rockets. I think nobody can disagree
Yeah.
with that. I think he became the superstar that he thought he could be, and he proved it to the world. Um, but now his love for basketball isn't what it used to be anymore. I would
Mhm.
also say that uh, he might be just kind of sick and tired of basketball. Like, that's why he doesn't care to play anymore. He's like, find me for the season, whatever you got to do. Like, I got money. I'm gonna do my thing. I'd rather be where I want to be and all this stuff. But as
Yeah.
as a person that supports like small market teams like the Pelicans and stuff like that, it's infuriating to me to to see a player just physically demand something, even though he signed a contract, and then it just didn't work out, and then he's like, well, screw you guys, I'm just not going to play. I just
I'm going to
as
take
a
my ball and go home.
as a character thing, why would any team want to take the risk of signing him whenever he said, oh, Nets is where I want to be, I'm gonna be here forever? Did he even make
Yeah.
a full season? No. 76ers wouldn't be, yeah, championship. No, I want out. So what does it mean? He goes to the Clippers and then he can't win with Paul George and Kawhi, and then yeah, I want out, and now I want to go to the Suns. Like, when does it end? As an organization, I don't think you could take the risk on him. You could take the risk on Embiid all day, I think, because he's proven loyalty, even though we've seen some of these things that we talked about later on in the playoffs where he just kind of felt like he gave up. But maybe he
Yeah.
just needs a fresh set of players, staff, and people around him to get him remotivated to get in the game of basketball. But I feel like Harden is out of the NBA. Not physically, he'll play somewhere, but I don't think he's mentally there like he was 3-4 years ago.
Interesting. I mean, you could be right, unfortunately, because I mean he is a great talent that should should be playing somewhere and should be doing well. But unfortunately, with all the drama that's happened the last 3-4 seasons with him and the injury situation, who knows what's going to come up with him, especially with this upcoming season. That's going to
Yeah.
be NBA is going to be a soap opera this next 2 seasons, man.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. Just go back to a couple comments. Notorious says he's on vacation in Smoky Mountains for his birthday with his girl and his dog. So very good, Notorious. If you're still in here, man, go out there and get off this channel and go enjoy your time with your girl and your pup in the Smoky Mountains and have a great time, man. I'm glad you're having a good birthday. Happy birthday to you, everybody. Spam happy birthday, Notorious, in the
Happy
chat.
birthday, brother.
Please, please, please. Hope you have a great one. 40 says, seriously, you had PJ yelling at Joel when it should be Joel yelling and being that leader. Exactly. But PJ Tucker don't play no crap.
True.
He's been in the NBA for a long time, and that's one thing you can't argue with PJ Tucker. That man's got heart. The way he
He gives
plays
you his all.
defense at his age,
Yeah.
he might not give you the scoring ability like he used to. He has heart, and he loves the game of basketball. Yeah, that's a very good point, 40. Nate, I did get the link. Go to 7 minutes 50. Okay, let me Mon, do you have a piece of paper and a pen by you? Can you write 750 somewhere? Um,
Yeah.
we'll check that out at the end. Nate says hit a nice three. Boy has range and athletic. Goodness. I think I might know who you're talking about, Nate. I have to see the video of him. Charles in the building. What's good, Charles? How you doing, brother? Said how y'all been? Charles, did you join the
What's good?
Discord
What's
yet?
good?
If you have not joined the Discord for the Real Fan Sports Fantasy League, please go and do that. It's just the easiest way to communicate. If you don't have Discord, you don't want to download it, I'll still make sure I message any information on both the Discord and the Fantasy League. Speaking of fantasy, anyone that would like to take part in fantasy, we have opened up our second league. Um, it needs to get at least 8 people. You already have me in here, so we need 7 more. If any of y'all would like to take part in a fantasy league, it is free for football. Go ahead, click on that link, download the app, join the league, and we'll have some fun. And I'll have more information coming out. I really want to get this filled up by the end of next week. That way, we can have our draft before the NFL season. Excuse me, before the NFL season starts. Charles also says Harden needs more honey buns. He's got plenty of honeys and plenty of buns. Honey buns. I promise you that. All right, on to topic number 4, halfway through here, and then we'll go ahead and just BS with you guys. Let's talk about the Michael Oher situation and how this man got blindsided. Take it away.
Now, okay, so I know mostly everybody has already heard more of the information that's been coming out. So, but if you haven't, ex-NFL star Michael Oher is in conversation. Well, he's actually working on a new book. He has a new book that's coming out, and some think that what's going on is possibly a ploy to get more eyes on the new book. But he's actually trying to get his conservatorship actually ended from the Tui family, which is Sean and Lee and Tui. From, of course, we all know if you watch the movie Blindside, Evolution of the Game was based off a book by Michael Lewis. And Michael Lewis, the writer, came out and said that Michael Oher and his focus is on the wrong people. He's saying that they didn't make as much money as he think they did, and he should be focusing on Fox, the television company Fox, because the family supposedly, there's multiple stories out there that says, one, the family only made $7,000 a piece. There's one story that says they made $70,000 a piece. But then ESPN did some digging and said that's not true. They said the Sean and Lee and the daughter and the son both made $250,000 a piece, and the parents are getting points on the movie. Which, if you understand in movie talk, if you're getting points, so every time that movie sells, every time that movie streams, you're getting a royalty still to this day. Mm-hmm. So, and some people were trying to ask, well, if they did a conservatorship, why did they do it at the time they did it? The conservatorship actually took place 3 weeks after he turned 18, which is unusual unless there is very, very serious circumstances like mental instability, physical harm.
Whoa, wait. Repeat that again. 18 is when he signed it? When he signed
he signed it 3 weeks after he turned 18. He thought he was signing adoption forms.
Wow.
They never told him that it was conservatorship. They told him that he was signing adoption forms and that he would be. That's why the term of him joining the family was big in the movie. That moment was big in the movie because that's what he was told. But in reality, he was signing conservatorship forms. And if you guys remember those if you pay attention to the big, superstars, Britney Spears, the situation with Britney Spears and her father, that's what she signed, the conservatorship.
That's what I was just about to say. For those that might not know, including myself, like what does a conservatorship like represent? Is it just like legal rights to them? Like, is it like power of attorney type stuff? Like what exactly is that?
It's very similar to a power of attorney. It allows those quote unquote guardians to to oversee anything financial. But any decision making situation, mostly financial, but any decision making, like if he wanted to buy an apartment, if he wanted to, if he got, his money for his, say he got a scholarship and he wanted, instead of, he had enough money to pay for his schooling, but he wanted to go and buy a car with the money left over. They have control of that. They can dictate where it goes.
Wow. And I know from my experience with like adoptions and how that stuff works, because I do have a friend that has went through that, one of which was on the verge of turning 18 whenever it happened. The other one was 15, I believe, on turn. And even at the age of 15, process to get the adoption is very, very grueling in today's world.
Yeah.
I mean, this happened 3 years ago as compared to when this happened, which probably what 10, 12 years ago, something like that. So, how the rules have changed. And I know now it is complicated. And they had in the situation that I'm talking about, it was clear as day that the adoption was right, but they had to go through hell and back in order to get it done, and it took almost a full year to be able to get all of that signed and put away. So the fact that back
Mhm.
then it was just kind of given, and then at the age above 18 when he finally signed is kind of crazy, because it almost feels it not feels like it is that they they took advantage of someone that doesn't know how, not how the world works, but how like these legal documentations work. Because like I would be lost with that too. I'd just be like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going through a struggling thing. You want to help me out and stuff like that? Yeah, perfect. That'd be great. Ding, ding, ding. Here's my
Yeah.
name, but not
So
knowing when I'm actually giving up.
the conservatorship took place in 2004. The movie pretty much hit the scene in 2009. He joined, and then of course, after that, he went into the NFL. So what's ESPN? I've been actually kind of trusting what ESPN's writing, what Variety is writing. It seems more realistic of what the situation truly is, and
Yeah,
I
well,
think
ESPN
that
doesn't
I
have a dog
think
in the fight, whereas
yeah,
Fox or CNN or whatever, they always want to push a narrative. So
yeah, yeah, like so. Or his new book is actually called "When Your Back Is Against the Wall." That it just came out earlier this month. That's the book that people are some people are referencing, saying that he's doing this to kind of get some attention and eyes on that book. Which I mean, I
maybe,
can see
but
that point of view, but I think the fact that you're filing this forms, you're going to court. I think that's doing a little bit too much. Not saying people haven't done worse. It's definitely a possibility, but here's the thing: the conservatorship technically is still in place
mm,
because the conservatorship can last a lifetime of that adult. It
wow,
doesn't matter. It can last a lifetime until that person requests to petition it to be taken away. Now, the Tui family stated just yesterday that they're willing to sign the forms. But here's my question. If you did it to help him through college and help him to get into college, why once he got out of college and got into the pros, you didn't dissolve it then? Because
that's
you
a very good
at
point.
that point, there's
You
no
did
need for
what
you to
you were
do that.
trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could have been, I mean, and like just playing devil's advocate, it could be
Hmm.
a thing where it's like just life kept moving forward, and it's just something that you didn't really think about anymore, because I would like to think that they weren't just the whole time like just abusing this kid. Like that they did do it
I
for
want to think that
it's
too. Yeah.
some space of like love and care and try to help him. And maybe they just didn't think, but under the table when they realized that things, thank you for the description, Tho Cash. Appreciate you for joining the channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, I would like to think that at some point that they did do it out of love and care, and then obviously they did something wrong, and they just, I don't know, were it's blindsided to it,
I,
just like how O'Hare was.
yeah. I mean, I do hear what you're saying. The one thing that I think is the issue with it is that they misrepresented saying that he was going to be part of the family, which made him think that it was an adoption. Conservatorship doesn't make him part of the family. It doesn't do that. There's nothing about that
Yeah,
makes
it
him
gives
part
him
of it. It
control.
doesn't. Yeah,
It just
because
gives him control.
adoption gives them the ability to take their last name as mother and father. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It gives them that option, but that's not the situation. And then even when I guess they supposedly were sending checks to him for his royalties, and they stated that he turned away his checks. I'm not sure as to what, there was no explanation as to why that took place. I think it could be something where he was building a case against
and
them,
didn't want to accept it because that would neglect the case, possible.
and also with the book itself that was written by the gentleman, the Michael Lewis gentleman. He signed away his rights for that too. So technically, he didn't even get nothing for the first book.
Yeah. Wow.
And so this conservatorship took place, like I said, 3 weeks after he turned 18. The man's now 37 years old. That's almost 20 years.
Yeah, it's
And
double. It's
they
double,
st-
over
they
double his age from where when
and
it first happened.
the Tui family still have him on all their like websites as their son. It states that he's their son.
Now,
And
where that
that's
comes in, and like it's hard to judge. I'm sorry to cut you off. It's hard to
mhm,
judge because we've all seen the movie. A beautiful movie. We
yeah,
all
great
and me
great movie.
Me and Don talked about it last night when we were kind of going over these different ideas, and we were just saying how like the movie was really good. We knew like some of it was bogus because they're selling a story, and that's how the world
Yeah,
works when
yeah,
it comes to this kind of
yeah.
things. But um, y- you know, just for it to be like just come out to be all this bad and to appear this way, just kind of neglects from that story because the whole storyline of that movie was that they did it because they actually cared and loved them
Yeah.
and they weren't trying to force them to go to Ole Miss because that's their alumni and yada yada yada. And then now all this kind of coming out, it makes you wonder how the actual actresses and actors that played a part in this movie, how they feel now that this is coming out. What's the God honest truth behind it? What and everything. I mean, it's hard for me not to
Well,
take the side of O'Hare, and I think that's going to be what most people are
Michael
going
Oher.
to do. Michael Orr, I'm sorry, I keep saying O'Hare.
Yeah.
Michael Orr, thank you. Um, but I know Nate says he also signed over all the rights to his story, whether he knew it or not. Doesn't sound like
Yeah.
they exploited the situation after he was a pro. It was just already in place, and that's kind of what I was trying to say. That's you formed that better when I was trying to say earlier is that it was just already there.
I
But
think
why didn't they get rid of it once he was in the pros already?
yeah.
And did you
Once he was
really
a full
love
on
him?
adult,
Right.
full on
And if
adult
you're
with his
still
own
calling
family.
and if you're still calling him your son, was there a relationship of love and care throughout that whole time, or were you just there to help him? Were you actually fatherly and motherly to him? Did he feel that way? Did y'all feel like he was your son? Was it like the movie where you took him in, you're like, nah, we don't care, like you come sleep on our couch, you're not sleeping on the street, like we know, like did you actually go out your way before signing these agreements, this conservativeship, where you actually did it out of the love and kindness of your heart? Where did things go wrong? And that's going to be the hardest thing to get down to the actual truth of, and deciding on where the case goes.
I think that is a great question, and I think what makes that question funny is when you watch the movie, the NC2A. The whole reason why they were rejecting the situation is because they felt that they were taking advantage of this young boy, and
Mm-hmm.
now the fact that it's come to light that that could be possibly true this many years later is like,
Yeah.
what? Like, this is really what y'all were doing from the beginning? And I want to believe that they were trying to do the right thing because, like I said, the story is a beautiful story, and you
It
want to
is.
believe that you want to believe that people inherently deep down are good. Yes, some people have the will to do other things, but you want to believe that people are good, and you want to believe in
Yeah.
the story. I hope that it comes out that it's just a misunderstanding, and they can let bygones be bygones. But he still does need
And
to get
yeah, yeah, get
whatever
his
money he
pay, get his
deserves to
money
get.
that he
Yeah,
deserves. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
I mean, and just like you said, like both you and me are the type of people that we're ready to give the clothes off our back. So like,
yeah,
even though we both know there's sick and evil people in the world, we try to see the good in everybody. I mean, I've been in situations where I've had people that were next to strangers that I've had come and stay with me and stuff like that I've only met a handful of times just because it's just how I was raised and being a loving kind person, and I know
hmm
Nan is the same way. So I like to be optimistic with it. I hope that it is not all bad, but definitely some of it needs to be corrected. Nate also said some are calling for Bullock to have her Oscar taken away. So stupid. They bet on him and it paid off. What if he never made the NFL? Not like they knew. Nate, yeah, her getting her Oscar taken away is insane. She couldn't have known any
yeah,
better. She was told a
yeah.
story and ran with it
Yeah,
because she thought it was a beautiful story. Like, no. Sandra
that's
Bullock,
just
that's her
people want
best
to blame.
performance ever.
Yeah, that's people want to blame somebody for something else. The question is, if this comes out, the conservatorship was BS from the jump. Now his next line of attack is going to have to go after Fox because if they don't have the money that he believes they have, then Fox has all the money,
Interesting.
and and that's going to be he's never. I doubt he'll ever get that money if it comes to that.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with that either. To move on into our next topic, another controversial one, um, and then we'll stay away from the controversy for a little bit, which is Cambage spark flames out. Liz Cambage, Australian native, played for the Olympic team there, has some beef with Nigeria. Do you want to kind of break it down for us now?
So, in a recent interview on Complex that took place with Taylor Rooks, they were talking about just her career, and conversations come up to the points of why her career started to derailed. It's not starting to. It's already kind of derailed. And there was questions that came back to a situation took place last year. Well, not last year, before last year, July of 2021, where Cambage reportedly got in several altercations with the Nigerian women's national team, which is
Mm.
interesting because her father is actually Nigerian.
Oh, I didn't
Her
even
father
know that.
Nigerian. Yeah,
That's
her
wild.
father's Nigerian. Her mother's Australian. She was born in Australia. Um, and this was supposed to be in preparation for the Olympics in Tokyo. Now, if you haven't already seen the video, there's multiple situations where the young lady that she is going against, she had pretty much assaults her twice. Two really good times. One, she elbows the young lady in the face, and this is Cambage who does the altercation. And then the second one, she does a spin move on trying to receive the ball down bottom in the post, and she smacks the girl in the face. And in retaliation, the young lady from Nigeria runs up on her, punches her in her face, and Liz Cambage falls to the ground. And the one thing that me and Zach both talked about is
Yep.
none of her teammates came to her defense,
None.
and
Not a single one.
it was one of those things where you felt like maybe this is something that they were expecting to happen. Now, part of it too is that Cambage yelled a few slurs to the Nigerian team, calling them monkeys and some other situations, and it's kind of interesting because of the fact that these are your people. Like
Literally your people.
these are literally
Like
your
not
people.
not like not like how some people like, oh, they're from Africa. This is no, that is your home. Like that is where your family is from. Like,
And you just but when you watch the
gosh.
interviews, the cockiness that she speaks with when she says that everyone is lying. Now there's multiple interviews of other players from the Australian team, players from the Nigerian team, the head administrator for the Nigerian team, the head administration for the Australian team have all come out and said, one Nigerian team said we do not want her on our team because she said in the interview, well, it never happened, and the reason why the way it didn't happen is because Nigeria wants me to play for them next year or whatever. And then
Yeah.
Nigeria came on and said, no, that's not true. We don't want her to play with
She's trying to flex. She's trying to flex so crazy.
us. And then her own teammate from the Australian national team came out in an interview just recently, stated that, yes, it's true. I was there. I heard her say the comments. And she's not, she didn't want to be a part of it. But
Hmm.
unfortunately, everything is so big right now around the situation that she had to speak up. She had
Yeah.
to tell the truth. And now Cambage, who was once a shining light in the WNBA, held the most points in the game, was 6'9", like a
Yeah.
superstar
Yeah.
athlete when
Beast.
it comes to
Beast.
basketball. Like she's a great talent, but unfortunately, her career is definitely nosediving and going in the wrong direction.
It's flaming
Now,
out.
I don't know how she recovers from this. I don't know what happens. And then also the Australian team, I believe, are rescinding her invitation from the next team.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
that's something that's in
Wow.
development
Hey,
currently.
you know what? Good on Australia, because you know how easy like you talked about how she came out and said that this is all false. Nigeria actually wants me to play for them, and the fact that
Mhm.
Australia could have like backed her, right? Like
Yeah,
the Australian national team. I mean, what ties do they really have? I mean, players come in and out, and things like that. It's not like Australia has been a great basketball country. They're bringing a lot of players into the NBA, WNBA, and all this stuff. But like they have every right to try and back her, but they're like, no, this just isn't true. And like, good for them to
yeah.
go and do the right thing in this situation. I'm assuming Nate might be joking on this comment, but he says, doesn't she get a race car pass as being half from that country? Well, thing
No,
is, no
no.
disrespect, no disrespect is ever should be taken from anybody. If you say anything into a negatively towards somebody else, and especially that term, which is something that is just
It's
God,
definitely
levels of
derogatory.
bong.
Yeah,
Yeah, derogatory, definitely beyond wrong. It's unacceptable. And honestly, it makes you look even worse as a person from that country. You're not just disrespecting them, you're disrespecting yourself and everything you stand for. Like, I would love to hear what her parents have to say. I assume we'll never hear that. they're gonna try and back her, but like what their honest opinions when they're talking to their friends, what they really are thinking about this whole situation and what's going on. It's absurd the way that this has came out. And just like you said, like when you see that fight, the little altercation that happened with the punching. I didn't see the first clip yet, but I saw the second one where she just acts like she's going for a rebound, but just swipes. She's behind the player boxing out to get the board and just
Yeah.
swipes, punches her in the face. She gets subbed out, and the girl's like, "Yeah, screw this." Walks up, hits her, and one person stood up. Everybody else was like, "Yeah, you deserve that. You deserve that stuff coming." Like, how often do you see that in a game? Like, we see Patrick Beverly going crazy in the NBA. We saw guys like Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, going crazy in the game, and people still backed them because they felt like at a certain point maybe they were obviously they were like wrong for a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
had thank you for the description, Captain Vane.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
but feel like it's at least worth fighting for, or at least trying to pull them off each other. They were like, nah, take her, bro. So like, what's happening during practices? Is she doing this during practices too, to where nobody has respect for her? That's where it's like you can't believe her. It is
Oh yeah. I mean the person that the veteran player from the Nigerian team is Aisha Mohammed. She's the one that actually ran across the court and landed the punch on her. She's the one, and she's the one that got hit in the face the second time.
yes,
That's what everybody's talking about the most. But not many people are talking about the initial first hit that took place that started this. And of course, the situation of the verbal assault was never caught on camera. But
mm-hmm.
it was interesting. After she got punched, she fell to the ground. She popped up, and of course, the coaches and the referees came to split everything up. She walks to the cameras and like is boasting to the camera, "Did y'all get that? Like that's a good thing, like, oh, did you get that? Did you get that? Like it's good for for women's sports." And it's not. It's not good at all.
It's not. We want to see physicality in women's sports. We want to see toughness. We want to see standing up for your teammates. We don't want to see blatant disrespect and
So
blatant. I mean, because the thing is too that goes beyond all this that we haven't talked about is the role model. I mean, we're talking about
yeah,
the WNBA, which has been getting a bad rep for so many years, but we come off a year where the NCAA college tournament was some of the best basketball that we've seen in a long time. I say in a long time, it's by far the best that we've seen in women's basketball in a very long time. But it people young girls are starting to look at these people and starting to look up to them, and this is the type of representation that you want to show as a star athlete from to not just people within the United States and the WNBA, but also people that support worldwide sports with the World Cup, or I'm sorry, with I guess the Olympics.
yeah.
And you're demonstrating this in front of the whole world and of showing this type of blatant disrespect. It takes a lot away. It is 100% a shame on you, Cambage, for doing this, man. It's
Well,
unbelievable.
in the interview with Rooks, Cambridge opened up and said that her struggles was because the way she was treated by her teammates. She said the team's environment was toxic. She said she took a shot at her teammates' ability to pass the ball, and then said that they're condemning while they condemning her for yelling at the other players, but then they were doing stuff to her. Like it's a blame game situation where she's like, well, they did this to me, so it's a bully. The bullies get bullied. Bullies who get bully other people. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like this. It's not an excuse. It's a bad excuse. And because of all of this, Cambridge is also actually. In the interview, she talks about her exit from the Sparks and the WNBA entirely. And so she stepped away to Sparks mid-season, July 2022, and then later announced on her social media that she plans to step away from basketball and focus on healing and personal growth. Last thing
Well, that's
on her
PR work
social media,
right there.
yeah, on it, but which is interesting because all the stuff that she had posted before, if you go to her social media, release her Instagram, has been wiped. There's only three photos on her current Instagram.
So you think she's actually still trying to stand by her word, but do you think she's actually feeling the repercussions, or do you think she's still standing by what she
Oh,
said and believes this?
she's feeling repercussions because right now she has. There's not a team that is reaching out for her to be a part of the squad one, and she's definitely feeling it. It's too much noise for her. It's too much noise. She can't you can't it's hard to bounce back from it. It's not like it's the NBA that's been around for a very very long time. It's a WNBA that's been around for a minute, but it's still growing and needing all the positive attention to
Yeah.
keep growing to achieve the levels that they want to achieve. Now with
Yeah.
this is like Monopoly. Take a few steps back. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not what they want to see, and that's why with her taking the break from WNBA, it's more so if she didn't, WNBA was probably going to do something anyway.
Yeah. So here is the $1 million question to wrap up this topic. Do you have anything else to go on this topic? Do you have any more notes?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. All right. So this is the final question to wrap this one up. Who's worse of a teammate? Cambage or Embiid?
I mean, I'd probably take Embiid and beating. I have not seen him call people slurs, so I'll take Embiid.
Yeah,
I'll defend him on the court. You know what I'm saying? But when he started calling people out, calling people slurs in regards to what their race or calling by their, out their gender or whatever, then it's like, okay, you got to step down, brother.
Yeah, that's great.
Because her own teammates in the Sparks have come against her too. So
yeah, that's crazy. All right, give me 1 second because I have to like download this real quick because I don't have it. So give me 1 second.
Which one are you looking for?
Hold on. Just give 1 second. I'll do it.
Let me see. Go look up chat because I wasn't looking at chat at all. So I seen this video. People were saying that Sabrina Chick can beat Steph at a 3-point competition. Sabrina I don't know if she can beat Steph, but she's damn good though. So like don't disregard the talent. But what's good, everybody? Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for hitting the like button for those who've been able to hit it. I know, I know we gotta earn Nate, so I understand that. That's the running gag. Also, don't forget to vote in the poll if you haven't already. We'd like to see where your head's at. But and also, if there's anything that you would like us to talk about in the future video, please send us either an email, as you can see, at realfans.biz@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on our Instagram or Twitter at realfansports.
Okay, so this is what I was trying to do. I was trying to, you read it already, but that's okay. I didn't really tell you what what I was laughing at, but I was laughing at Charles' comment where he says, I seen video people were saying that Sabrina can beat Steph at a 3-point competition, and I had to play this. I mean, now to be honest, she did something phenomenal in that 3-point competition. But but guys, are we forgetting the fact that Steph Curry made how many threes in a row? It was like 72.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy like
yeah, it was something nuts like that. She had a great competition. That's not taken away from her. I love her. I mean, like, the way that she learned from Kobe is something that she was one of the not the first, but like a big part of the evolution of the WNBA, of like working with NBA players and stuff like that, and especially with Kobe, getting her shine on, and she had every reason to fold because it was all over social media. Everybody knew about that, and the fact that she's actually gone out there and has been playing her game and balling out. Good shout to Sabrina. Yes. So no trash talk at all towards her, but we're talking about Steph Curry. I mean, maybe if the time's right, but we're talking about Steph Curry. So let's go ahead into the next topic. That's going to be coaches under fire. This one's going to be a little bit longer, but we're going to go ahead and go through the different coaches that are in the hot seat right now in the NFL. Number one is Nonfiction's favorite team's head coach, which is Josh McDaniels. What's up with Josh, man?
Well, I mean, we all seen what happened last year, how the team fell apart when they were predicted to have this amazing run. The situation Josh McDaniels is, can he turn around? Can he prove that he's actually a good coach? That's the question. One, he hasn't had the greatest rapport as a head coach. He's great as an offensive coach, great offensive mind.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
But now the question is, he's had one bad stint in Denver, second stint in Las Vegas, has started off really rocky, especially with all the accusations of him throwing the situation, dealing with Derek Carr, and putting Derek Carr in a position where he could only do anything but just fail. So the question is, will he succeed this year? Or if they fail, will he have a long enough leash to have another season under his belt? Which I know Zach has stated that he doesn't think so. I unfortunately think that he will, because when you look at the ownership of
So,
the Raiders,
mhm.
Mark Davis, he has said on hundreds of occasions,
He has
"I
no
don't know
clue.
football." That's why I
He has
hire
no
people that
clue.
know football, and that is unfortunately the problem with our team. I love the fact that Davis
So,
is still connected to the name. Davis is still connected to the family, but I am one of the very few that says I think he should sell.
so not because I know we got a lot of coaches to talk about, and don't want to get into too big of a deeper conversation. But at what point does Davis just own the team, but hire someone that gets paid a wealthy amount of money to actually run the team as like a president, and allow him just to be the ownership that signs the checks, but have someone actually be ahead of who they hire and stuff like that, and give the reins to them? Like, do you think that is that something that's already in process, or do you think that's something that should
They
happen, or do you think they
they
should just sell?
attempted they I think, well, because okay, so for people to understand, the Raiders are not owned just by the Davis family alone.
Okay,
No,
that makes a
a lot of
difference.
people don't realize that they're actually owned by a board. I believe there's 4 or 5 families, or there might have been 6 at one point. One family sold out the rest of theirs to the Davis family. That's why they have more over the majority power, because they have most of the shares. But the other families, their oldest child that's a part of the situation, have asked to be more in the limelight, has wanted to step up in a situation to be more attached to the team. But Mark Davis himself has actually said no.
That's
and
insane to
and
me. That's
yeah,
insane to me.
he has pushed back
Now, are they
quite.
wanting to take more of a cut, and is that why he doesn't want to give up a percentage? Because I mean, the
They want
thing
to be
is,
more involved.
as a owner, I mean, you have a huge responsibility. I mean, you've already showed that you don't care 100% because you left Oakland. Now, I know that whole situation in Oakland of like playing on a baseball field and all that stuff is like already a complete mess. But like you've already showed your lack of I don't know if understanding is the word, but of understand or comprehension of like what it actually means to own a team in a city and what the team actually means to the city. Um,
Yeah.
and then you come to this situation where it just feels like you're so headstrong. You're still gonna make millions and probably billions of dollars as an owner of this team, but get the fans what they want, because at the end of the day, this is a I know this is money for you because you don't care about football, but for a lot of people this gives people hope. I mean, I'm sure the dynamic is very similar, but I know like with New Orleans and the Saints and stuff like that, like when the Saints win, the city wins, the state of
Mhm.
Louisiana wins, like our crime is down. uh People get along a lot more. There's always conversation. Like when the Saints are doing good, I'm telling you, walking through New Orleans is probably one of the most enjoyable things to do in the world, because every person is you see a person with a Saints shirt or hat or t-shirt or whatever, or Saints colors, it don't even matter. It could just be a Saints color shoes and be like, you like the Saints, you can talk to him for 30 minutes, random stranger, and just have a great time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's a big society impact that teams have. It might not be as big as, I know we have a bunch of viewers from all over the country. It might not be as big as that, where it's your religion, but it does have a significant impact, and it doesn't feel like Davis understands that.
Now, and that's the thing. So, what people don't realize. I know that other teams have fans in other parts of the world, but if you don't understand how crazy Raider Nation really is,
Oh yeah.
they literally have some of the biggest fan groups that show up in other teams, that when the other teams play in the UK, they're there
Mm-hmm.
all out, even though it's not them. It's usually the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
But it's like their fan base is so freaking huge and so passionate about their team, to the point now that you have the old heads versus the young heads, where it's like the Jordan versus LeBron conversation, Derek Carr versus the old school. It's like and they're constantly clashing. And then now with Derek Carr out the situation, hopefully that can come back together and just push forward and push the team. But unfortunately, with Mark Davis and how he's proceeded with the Las Vegas situation, they've lost a lot of the older generation of fans,
Fans.
because
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
there's fans that have had season tickets for over 20 plus years that can't afford to buy tickets in Las
Yeah.
Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
because Las Vegas is now the most expensive ticket in an NFL.
Yeah. I mean, And again, we're going off topic, so we need to reel it back in. But like, I mean, that's it. It's becoming to such a point, and that's why like when we do our like reactions to like the ultra videos and stuff like that, watch the soccer fans and or football fans from all over the world about, they're like, oh, y'all people don't stand up. It's like you don't realize it's like to go to games is crazy. Right now the Saints
Mhm.
tickets are a little bit lower because we're coming off of a bad season, but normally to stand the nosebleeds is $120. That's on the cheap price. In the middle of the season, before we realized that we were actually really bad, it was 120. You're looking at $20 to $30 for parking. If you want a beer, it's $10 per beer. If you want a chicken sandwich, you're looking at $13 $14. If you want a soda, you're looking at $8 to $10. It's not a just expense where you can just go out and do these things, and they're tearing away from real fans because they're so worried about being an entertainment industry instead of a industry of a sports team that represents the community. Because like you and
Yeah.
me, we like when we watch games, we really feel embellished. We're grown men
Mhm.
buying jerseys of other men's names on the back. You know what I mean? Like it's always a joke. People like frown on that, like joke about it, like, oh yeah, y'all buying that, which is stupid to me. But it's like when the Saints win, I feel like I win. When the Raiders win, you feel like you win. And
Mhm.
they're trying to take that out of the equation. And like that's what's gonna kill the NFL. Because
Oh yeah, yeah,
fans are gonna eventually feel like they don't matter anymore. And it shouldn't be
yeah.
that way. I mean, like the Super Bowl's coming to New Orleans next year, and I messaged my cousin, and he was like, "Oh, maybe I'll have enough money to buy to get tickets." I said, "Screw that!" I said those tickets are going to be like $3,000 for nosebleeds. I said, "I just want to go to the fan experience convention because it's not probable to go to. It doesn't make sense financially to go to a Super Bowl. Like,
No, it doesn't.
but
No,
um,
it definitely does not.
but anyway, so McDaniels, my opinion on McDaniels is, I say that I don't know if he'll get another chance, and the main reason why is because of the Raiders organization and how they have been flipping through so many head coaches left and right, and nothing sticks. It seems it's like as soon as a program starts getting going and they start trying to form an identity, they start getting their draft picks and stuff like that. They want to wait and see if they develop. Then the coaches change, and then the coach has a different idea. We saw that with the
Yeah.
Raiders last year when they got McDaniels. Like they
Mhm.
made it to the playoffs. They did lose in the first round, but really they should have won if it wasn't for the referees. I don't know if you hire the backup that came in replaced for Gruden as the head coach, but I also feel like why wouldn't you? Because he obviously had the team's back and the team backed
Yeah,
him.
he had him
It's
galvanized.
like
Yeah.
yeah, it might have not been the best option, but he had the team, and y'all played well when y'all were working underneath him. You bring a guy like Josh McDaniels, he wants to change the team all around, and very much like Da with the Saints, it's okay. Now you went out and got the guy you want, which was Jimmy G,
Yeah.
out of all people. I don't think that saves him. The thing that's going to save the Raiders is getting a really good young quarterback and actually waiting 3 or 4 years and see if the guy that y'all pick up works. Because I think going grab people like Jimmy G isn't going to save the organization. Like it might save him another year, but it's not going to be much longer than that.
And that's why many fans having their fingers crossed that this Aiden O'Connell kid who will be turning 25 this year will be better than what they think he is. Even
Yeah.
though, and I mean, him with Purdue, his percentage was see like 71% was his percentages. So he was a really good quarterback, but it still was at Purdue. It's not like he was in the SEC or the Big Ten or Pac-12 or anything like that. So we'll see.
Definitely, definitely. Nate says if your fan base doesn't jump through tables, are they truly passionate? Come on now. And I mean, look, Bills fans are built different, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. We got to drive through potholes to get to games. We ain't worried about jump through tables. We already got to buy a new set of tires every time we drive to New Orleans. Um,
Jumping through table doesn't mean that you're a dedicated fan base. It means
uh,
there's something wrong with you guys.
Nate says you two got to talk NRL in Vegas too, baby. We do need to talk about that. Maybe we'll do that in the next one of these.
Mhm.
Had they released the dates and stuff yet? I know I've had a bunch of people send me links and stuff like that, but if they release the dates, please let me know. As soon as they release the dates, I'm definitely gonna be able to get out there. We should be starting back up channel memberships and stuff like that soon, and hopefully we can get Non out there too. I think I talked to Non. I think we should be able to get 2 rooms, so it's just getting out there, and then whatever you spend while you're out there. But we should be able to get out there. That shouldn't be a problem.
Exactly, Charles.
Nate says NRL pushing American market, same NRL on YouTube, no promoting NRL. Right, Nate, it kills me, man, because I've been wondering. That's what me and Nate were talking about the other day. We're saying how the Bathurst videos are going really good, and I said I said because we still attract a lot of Australia audience from Australia and New Zealand, but we aren't allowed to react to NRL anymore. So whenever we post a Bathurst video, the video blows up instantly. But we can't do NRL anymore, which sucks because man, we were like just starting to really understand it and like really get into it, and like we're still interested in it, but like now that we can't like watch match highlights or anything like that or react or do that, we can do it on our own. But
Yeah.
the purpose behind growing the channel and stuff like that, it's not as far as what it could have been. I don't understand what the NRL is doing.
I need Nate to go to the offices and say, "Hey, we got some guys in the United States that would love to be sponsored by NRL. Let us do
right. Hey, look, just allow us to do the games. You don't even have to pay us a whole bunch of money. Just allow us to do the games. Let her get all these, bro.
Yeah.
You send me $100 a month, we'll be chilling. Like $50 each, chilling.
Just send this. Just make it
or a
make
gear.
Us
send us a jersey every week, or
make it official,
or a rugby ball.
Make it official. Make it official so we get promoted. You ain't even got to pay us. Just promote us and give us permission. We'll do the rest from there. We'll make it off of there.
Boom. Charles said should have just took the top 4 teams right now and take them to Vegas for next year. Penrith said no. Oh, that's crazy. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. So this is the interesting thing with Kevin Stefanski, and the reason why he's really under the pressure that he is, accumulating, is because of the big contract that he's given to Sean Watson, going out on the limb and making this move.
$230 million.
In Stefanski's work with the Browns back in 2020, they went 11-5. It was the first time they went to the playoffs in a long time, and Stefanski was looking like the man. But since then, the Browns have been 15-19. They have dealt with a very banged up Baker for a couple of years, so that definitely adds to that. But then last year with Deshaun Watson, who didn't get to play till week 11, they were led by Kobe Brissett. And then Watson didn't really pay out as much as what we would have, or what they would have hoped for him to have done. Do you think the money that they paid Watson was worth it? Is it paying off? What's the
moment?
issue?
No. At this moment, I don't think it was worth it because you're paying him for the potential of where he can be, and I know that's where most contracts are based off of. But he had not performed in the league prior to that for how many games? How long had it been?
A while. So
you're paying him for
a year and a half since he played when they signed him.
Something he did a season and a half ago.
Yeah.
So you don't know what his potential is. You don't know how his mind is. Anything.
Let's also not forget, not in a great division either. I mean, this is when the Jacksonville Jaguars were Sorry, Nate. Were not very good. Tennessee Titans were good, but it's not like they were elite. They were good for their division, but they weren't elite. They were winning a lot of games, but I think we could all agree they weren't elite. And then the Indianapolis Colts, which had the couple years with Andrew Luck, I believe, was still there, but like that was after he was already getting beat up and torn to shreds. So it's like he was looking good against some banged up teams in their division. And that's not taken away from Watson. I think Watson's a very skilled, a very talented quarterback, but he took a year and a half off. You don't know what he was doing. What's the truth of how hard he was working during those off seasons. He's coming to a completely different scenario with the Browns where you play outdoors a lot in a very tough division where they're surrounded by great defenses with the Ravens and the Steelers. Cincy, that's been phenomenal defense. And now you went from a weak division to, a top 2 to 3 division in the NFL. And Stefanski laid out all of his marbles and now being up on the hot seat because of that. When you take a look at that team, they have great talent. They have Deshaun Watson, which we would like to assume he's great talent. They have Amari Cooper, which I think was a phenomenal move. It worked out in Dallas's favor because I'm forgetting his name now. Oh my goodness, he has the dreads. CeeDee Lamb has became great. It is becoming, you know, phenomenal. But Amari Cooper was the top wide receiver in the league. They have the best running back in the league, in Chubb. They had the great duo with Kareem, but they'll figure that out. I think anyone that runs with that offensive line, they'll be able to do fine. But they still aren't winning games.
Yeah, I mean, and also on defense have Miles Garrett,
Yeah.
who
Oh, and
looks
Miles Garrett.
damn
Yes, I'm sorry, I
good,
forgot about Miles Garrett. Yeah,
who looks really good. It's unfortunate that the
they have a
230 million dollars.
top 10 defense in the league.
Oh yeah, it's just unfortunate that the $230 million that's fully guaranteed to Deshaun Washington is what's causing the pressure for everyone. If this
That
experiment doesn't
contract is
happen,
horrible.
oh yeah, if this contract, I mean, if this experiment does not work, we can see Miles gone, we can see Amari gone, we can see Nick Chubb gone, we can see Watson gone, we can see the
No,
coach
no,
gone.
no. Watson will be there because he's getting guaranteed money. What you talking about?
Well,
He
yeah,
ain't leaving.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
It's
but
gonna be
they're,
Deshaun
they're gonna
Watson with a
probably
bunch of practice squad guys because they can't
because
afford to sign anybody else.
they're gonna have to rebuild around him, and that's the crappy part because
Yeah.
his contract is what puts Stefanski on the hot seat.
I feel like they got a taste of the playoffs for the first time in however long it was, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, let's just go and make big moves." No, no, ease into it. You got into the playoffs. You had an 11-5 season. Just get back to back playoffs. Build up your offense. Build up your line. Your defense is already built. You just had to worry about offense. Get some good draft picks. Instead, you get rid of everything, and you now are. He's number 2 in the list according to CBS Sports, where we got this top 5 list from. But honestly, I think he's in more jeopardy than McDaniels because he's not just playing with wins and losses. He played with the money, and
Yeah,
money
yeah.
it talks, and he played with that
Mhm.
money in the wrong way. Uh, Next up on the list is no other than Brandon Staley, the head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers. What's up with Staley?
This one, it's kind of one of those things where you're kind of surprised because the Chargers have a good team, a fairly good team when they're healthy. I know that's like every team, but they have a really good high caliber excelling team when they're healthy. But under Staley, who's supposed to be this defensive minded quasi genius, the defense has not looked like what it's supposed to look like. The offense has fallen apart on many occasions. They blew a 27-0 lead to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the wild card round. I mean, they lost to the Raiders, to a team they were supposed to handily beat to get into the playoffs, and they could have gone to the playoffs, but they tried to do some unhanded stuff, and the Raiders did what they did and kicked the field goal instead of tying the game. I mean, unfortunately, Brandon Staley, who is actually I think is a pretty decent coach. We still don't know because he's still fairly new into this tenure. It's not like he's 6, 7 seasons in, 8 seasons in, still new. So we may see them turn around this year, but it's kept getting to the point that around week 6, week 7, all of a sudden their receivers start dropping like flies. They start dropping like flies, and then all
Yeah,
of a sudden
injuries hurt
everything
them a
just
lot
falls.
last year.
Yeah, and it just falls apart. But it's one of those things too. If you are somebody who has seen a lot of Chargers games, they've had just issues getting over the hump period since the Phillip Rivers days. And it's like it's just bad situation after bad situation.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when I look at the Chargers, I just look at the same thing. All the talent in the world, great teams. This isn't even the
Yeah.
best team that they've had in the last 2 decades. But it's still a very good team. They consistently have very good team. They're drafting, like their scouting team and stuff like that, probably some of the best in the NFL. Consistently wise. Like I'm not saying they have like these best like big like man, this is the best draft in history. This is the best free agency in history. But like consistency wise, they have always been top notch. They go and get great guys and great players. But I don't I don't know where to point the finger to because, you know, I don't know where to point the finger to because it's been going wrong for so long to where it's like, is it the head coach now? Is it the president? Is it the GM? Is it the owner? What is going wrong to where y'all can't string together great wins? You know, the one thing with the Chargers, they're trying to really they Eckler's a great running back as far as statistics go, but he's not a great running back. He's a great catching running back. He does get out on the flats, gets out on screens, and is phenomenal that way, but he's not a great up the trenches runner. They don't have that. I think that hurts them a lot, especially when you have your third and shorts, fourth and shorts, and stuff like that. Your red zone offense,
Mhm.
you don't have a guy that can go ahead and push the line just with getting in the eye and just running it uphill. You have a great talent in Justin Herbert that you hope his talents don't go to waste playing for his team, much like how it did with Phillip Rivers. I mean, Phillip Rivers not getting a Super Bowl is or even I don't even think he got a Super Bowl appearance is kind of crazy. Whenever you had guys like Mike with excuse me, with like Antonio
Tomlinson,
Gates and
yeah,
Tomlinson and
Tomlinson,
all
right?
these guys. So it's like, where's the inner thing? They keep cycling through coaches because that's the easiest scapegoat to go through. And I think Staley is going to get scapegoated again, but there's a bigger issue. Like it's either they just can't find the right coach, and that could very well be it. They just haven't found the right one. But I know they're in a hard division. This year is probably going to be the easier out of a while, even though I think I want to have hope in Sean Payton just because I like Sean. But
Yeah,
you deal with KC, and that's always tough. But you should be making runs in playoffs. You should be getting to the
yeah.
AFC Championship against the Chiefs or the Bills, whoever's there. Like you should have that potential as a team, and we just haven't seen it. Do you think he deserves to be gone next year, or do you think they need to ride the wave and see where it goes from here?
I don't know if I feel like he should be gone. You know, it's one of those things where like we talked about it off streams so many times that there's so many little bits of blame to be pointed all around, and I don't think the bulk of it should go fall on his shoulders. I just don't feel that way. He does
But someone
the
has to get it. Someone has to
Oh
take it.
yeah,
That's the
and
problem.
unfortunately, in this sport, more than likely it's going to be him. Now we see now that they have Kellen Moore is calling the offense. He has full control of the offense this year.
I like Kellen
Let's
Moore.
see, let's see how that works out for him.
I do like Kellen
Because
Moore.
with the situation before, it was Staley, it was this person, all coming together trying to make it work. When it's like Staley, you're a defensive minded coach. Why are you
What
even in
is
this conversation?
what does he have to do to save his job? What, does he have to make playoffs? Does he have to win over 10 games? What does he have to do? Can he get under 10? What's your thoughts?
I think they have to make playoffs.
Me too. That's how I feel too.
At least make playoffs.
At least and be competitive
Yeah,
in the opening round.
yeah,
Can't get jumped. You'd it would have to be a game where you get there and you have to at least compete all four quarters. Yeah, I would say you
yes.
have to win, but you got to compete. Next up, we're gonna talk about Bill Belichick, and this is one that's like so crazy that we're putting Bill Belichick, 8-time Super Bowl champion, on the hot seat. And it's not just us or CBS that's putting him on the hot seat. There's
It's
talks
almost
of
everybody.
even his friends. His friends are privately worried about him. I don't know if they're worried about him mentally, if they're worried about him just for his job's sake. And because we know one thing, Belichick loves football. I mean, look at that hoodie, bro.
Yeah.
That is a hoodie he hasn't washed since 1994. Like that, like this dude loves football, and to have to leave the game of football because of bad coaching, or because of your team not working out, is worrisome. Because I mean, what do you have left? You know what I mean? Like where
Yeah.
do you live past that? The biggest thing with Belichick is without Tom Brady, they have a record of 43 and 44. That's throughout all the years. Since Brady has left, they're at 500 at 25 and 25. So that's over
Mhm.
the last two seasons. Is Belichick really on the hot seat, or like what do you think? Is he too old school for the new school?
He may be too old school for the new school, but the Patriots kind of run things that way. It's not they're one of the last few teams to really bend towards this new fandango way of doing things, allowing players to be more sociable and all this stuff. He don't care about that. He just wants to
Well,
play
look,
football and win
I'll
games.
put this out there. They have a coaches like they have the what is it called, the players association. They have a coaches
Yeah,
association.
yeah,
Bill is not a part of the coaches association because he doesn't like all that internet stuff.
Yeah.
That's why in Madden 24, Coach Bill Belichick isn't in Madden 24. They're coached by a guy named like Jim Caldwell. No, I'm sorry, not Jim Caldwell. I know Charles was saying he was playing Madden earlier, but it's not him. They make up a random guy's name and they make his face and picture. They made it a mixture of Bill Belichick, their OC, and then their DC, and that's who they made, and then they gave him a name. He
Really?
does. Yes,
I didn't know
yes,
that.
yes.
I
That's
didn't
the
know
insane
that.
part about Belichick. Belichick do not give a. He don't give a damn. He don't give a mother. Like that's really how it is with Bill. I don't want to say Bill is on the hot seat. I think Patriots fans are holding them to a higher standard. They're coming off of 8 straight Super Bowls. I'm not saying that he probably shouldn't retire. I think he should retire before he gets fired. I think that the new school is too different from him to be able to develop the new players that are coming into the league. He wants to run things a certain way, and that's just not how players perceive the NFL and how they want to play anymore. I mean, it's just like a lot of coaches, even at the high school club level and stuff like that, of like, you know, U13 to like U18 leagues where people are more sensitive, parents are more sensitive, and I think he's too tough for him. I think he should retire because he's only going to make himself more mad because players aren't gonna give him the time of the day and respect that he deserves as an 8-time champion winning coach. In today's NFL, I just don't see. He
Now,
doesn't relate. He doesn't relate. The best time he ever
I
related was whenever he did the Halloween party with Randy Moss and he dressed up as a pirate. That was like that was the most human Bill Belichick I've ever seen.
I'm the last person that you expect to come to the aid of Bill Belichick,
Yeah, I do.
regardless
I
of
know
who
you
he
hate them. I know you hate them.
regardless of who he coaches for. He's probably one of the best coaches that's ever been in the game. And
No doubt.
I understand that people are
He
like,
you
well,
know how they
without
have I'm sorry, you know how they have to wait a certain amount of years before they get in the Hall of Fame? He retires, he's
yeah,
in the Hall of Fame.
yeah.
I don't there shouldn't be a wait period. He's in.
I know, like, people are saying, without Brady, he hasn't been successful. But Brady was a generational talent.
Yeah.
So that's to be expected because now when you're trying to replace Brady, that's
You're
virtually impossible.
it,
It's it's
it
the it's
actually
the
impossible.
it's the Jordan, can Kobe or LeBron be the replacement for Jordan? Like, it's all different. They're oranges and apples. Like, you can't compare it to. It's unfortunate that the team at the point they're in now, they haven't been successful within bringing in the right quarterback. If they might have had the right quarterback, we don't know what his potential could have been after Tom Brady. Tom Brady fell into a great situation. He fell
Oh
into
no,
a
he
great
definitely did.
situation.
Definitely did. Bell and like that's why I hate the argument between like Tom or Bill, who's more
Yeah,
successful.
like,
And they're like, "Oh, well, it's Tom because he went to Tampa and won a Super Bowl." But Tom learned what he learned because of Bill.
if not for Bill, Tom doesn't get the break he got when he got it. Because when Drew
He
Bledsoe got
went
injured, they brought in Tom Brady. When Drew Bledsoe came back, they could have put Brady back on the bench, even with his success, because Belichick is old school, and normally old school coaches would have done that, but they saw the potential of what he was going to be in the future,
Tom
and was like, you
Tom
know what, we're going to run with this one.
Tom in college was a unathletic, didn't have a great arm, didn't have great accuracy quarterback, but had potential. Belichick seen it. That's why he was drafted so late. And like that's
Mhm.
not disrespecting Tom, but that is what his report was coming out of college. He Tom worked his ass off. Like let's not doubt
Yeah.
that. I'm not taking anything away from Tom. Like Tom got himself to be that guy that is. If you
Oh
don't have
yeah,
him, if
yeah.
you don't have him as number one in your rankings of quarterbacks all time, like you're just wrong. Like that's blatant. That there's not even an argument of how people say like Jordan or Kobe or LeBron. There's not even an argument. Tom is number one. Who's won more Super Bowls? Who's won more MVPs? Who's done it more than Tom Brady? No one. Who's done it with multiple franchises instantly? No one. So you gotta put Tom there, but Belichick helped with that development. I think that's why I
Oh yeah.
say I think if anything, Tom should probably retire because he doesn't deserve to be fired. Because that I don't think
Belichick, yeah.
that's I don't think yeah I'm sorry Bill he does not deserve to be fired, but I think it's time for him possibly to retire because the amount of heat that he's about to get, because everybody expects excellency out of him with a brand new quarterback in Mac Jones, who I don't think has the talent as they all expected, which is a lot of new quarterbacks coming into the league out of the draft who have great expectations but don't fulfill them. It's truly a guessing game. It's truly a guess. Doesn't matter if you're number one
Oh yeah,
overall or if you're last pick overall like Brock Purdy. It's all how you perform in the NFL. It's very different. And their team is in a true rebuild right now in a division that is tough. And I don't think
yeah.
that's takes any accolades away from Bill. But I think it's Bill. Just step down, bro. Don't worry about the pressure too much, man. Your heart's got to be bad, bro. I know your blood pressure heart is high. I know it is.
I mean, with that lifestyle, the yeah, blood pressure is a definitely issue with that lifestyle. Um, but yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting season for them. Even though I know, like I said, they're Patriots, because I don't want to go him to go out on on an L like that. We'd like to see him be successful, even if it's like a get to one game to the playoffs and then lose. That's fine, but go out that way. Don't go out with like a four win season.
Exactly. Exactly. And then just the last point, and then we're just going to move on to the last one. We knew this was going to be a longer topic, but the one thing that was probably the most interesting with Bill being a good offensive minded head coach, the one thing that was probably the most surprising to me is that last year they had a 42% red zone touchdown rate, which was the worst in the league and the worst since
Mhm.
1992.
Yeah,
So you can blame that on Bill. You can blame that on the players. You can blame that on them not prepping for the new age of NFL, but that was also an interesting stat to me. And there was also some tension between both Mac Jones and Bill Belichick because Mac Jones has seeked out advice outside of the Patriots building, which is a no for Bill Belichick. And it shouldn't be. And it shouldn't
yeah,
be.
it definitely shouldn't be.
Next up is Robert. I always pronounce
Soleil.
his
I always,
Saleh.
I believe it's
Is it
Soleil.
Saleh or Salah? I thought it was Salah.
I always say Soleil, but it could be Salad.
Saleh or Salah. Robert Saleh, head coach of the Jets, making big moves, racked up a lot of young players, now grabbing Aaron Rodgers to try and lead them in a tough division against the Bills and the Dolphins and the Patriots. I didn't think he was on the hot seat personally, but
Hmm.
you have some good points as to why he might be. So tell me those.
I think it's more so of the same situation as the Browns, as the organization is going all in on this Aaron Rodgers experiment, bringing in players from the Packers, hoping that it works out. Now, I mean, from all how it looks right now, it looks like it feels like it's going to be successful because of the talent that you have on the team. Now, of course, barring injuries and hailstorm taking out the stadium, who knows what's going to happen? But we all believe that's going to be a positive outcome for them. It's just that going from a 4-13 to a 7-10, and then trying to go all in on this situation. If it doesn't work, that itself it's the pressure. It's the
Yeah.
same thing as the Deshaun Watson contract. It's not really necessarily the contract; it's the pressure the contract causes. It's the
Mm.
situation. Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers coming
Mm-hmm.
to New York is the pressure. If they win, the pressure is relieved, is released. If they lose, that's pressure that's going to build. It's going to explode. And unfortunately, once it explodes, it's not going to be on Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be on the coaching staff.
It's medical staff. Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at Salah, is like I've loved everything that Jets have done. I've said that over the last 2 years, even before we started
Mhm.
doing our podcast here on the Real Fan Sports page. I've said I've loved what the Jets have done. I've loved how they've built from underneath and they have tried to develop players. They have a great defensive line. They now have Sauce Gardner. Sorry, not Sauce Gardner, but yeah, Sauce Gardner. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
Sauce
Sauce
Gardner.
Gardner. Yeah.
Yeah, They
Yeah.
have Sauce Gardner at cornerback, who is looking like he's going to be an elite talent in the NFL. They have a great dual running back system now with Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook, who we'll talk a little bit more about later. They have Aaron Rodgers. I like their wide receivers in both McCole Harmon and Garrett Wilson. And there's also another name that I'm forgetting, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. I think they're a team that is ready to be good now. I think these are all the right moves to make a great team.
Hmm.
But the fact that you're saying like he's under pressure because this is such a big move of going from being under 500 your whole stint there in the Jets. If you're not above 500 and if you're not in the playoffs, and like you know they had that added spot in the playoffs now. Like you can't be that bottom wild card that sneaks in. You gotta be that higher one. Like you gotta be a guy that's competing up there with the Bills in order to make sure your job is safe, because you're bringing in Aaron Rodgers, a dude that makes limited mistakes. You know, and we'll forget about last year, but a guy that just knows how to win games. Poor in the playoffs. I mean, for the most part, but I mean, playoffs are hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of pressure is on him. What do you think he needs to do this year in order to not be in the hot seat or to not possibly lose his job? What is the minimum and what's the max to where it's like he's the guy?
I think they need to learn. They need to learn how to utilize Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall together in a 1-2 punch. Who's going to be the true third down back? Who's going to be the 1-2? And if they can develop, the run game was already kind of there. They had great talent the run game, but now adding in somebody such as Dalvin Cook in there, and I know people are going to be like, what? No, adding him into the
We're going to
situation
talk about that later.
makes this a even bigger boom possibility. It
Facts.
takes a lot of pressure off of Brees Hall, where he doesn't have to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 down back, and allows Dalvin Cook to come in there and relieve some of that stress. And also gives Aaron Rodgers some opportunity to not have to be in the pocket so frequently, can make some adjustments and utilize his backs and run different sets that they probably weren't planning to run before adding Cook to the situation. I think, like I said, I think the potential is there. I mean, I know I've talked about them possibly can bust, and I think that's a possibility. But
Yeah.
that's with every team. Um, but I mean, the way it looks and how their team is kind of rounding out to be, even during this preseason, it's looking to be a successful outing for them.
Yeah, I think so too. I have way more confidence in this outing than the Browns outing for sure. Um,
Mhm.
well, I'll bring up the next conversation piece. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it blank. I'm gonna go ahead and run to the restroom real fast. We want to get to some of the messages, and then we'll wrap up our last two topics.
All right. Hold on one second. It says Super Bowl or bust to me, the Jets. Bills versus Jet is the game of the week in week one. Could be a very good game. So Australia says Skitology. Hope I'm saying it correctly. In Australia, we call NFL gridiron. I was wide receiver. Great quarterback will deliver. Oh yeah, great quarterback will deliver 100%. Good point. The quarter is where it's at. Let me scroll to see more. Charles said, "No way, Bill's on the hot seat." So from what we see in all the different articles, I don't think it's like other people. It's not like McDaniel's situation. It's not like the other situation. It's just because, one, of age, two, the game is evolving and changing. Is if he's not willing to evolve with the game, can can he still sustain any possible success in the game? That's where the hot seat situation comes from. That's what I believe. Um, but it's Bill Belichick. Like it was stated earlier in chat, he has how many rings, and he goes out when he wants to go out. You know what I'm saying? So, and I actually kind of agree with that. It it's unfortunate that if he goes out on a downward spiral, that means it's not only him that's being affected, it's the organization, the fan base, the ownership, the city, it's everyone. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully for his sake, it's not that way. Even if they just win more games than what they won last year, that's a plus. That's a big
Yeah.
time plus. You know.
All right. So bring
So
up.
they got
Oh, good.
oh, hold on. So Charles said they got a Walmart version of Tom Brady and Bailey Zappi.
Oh Lord.
That's kind of funny actually. Says how are the Dallas Cowboys traveling? Oh, I haven't even really paid that much attention to the Dallas Cowboys, because Cowboys, they don't play their first string players in the preseason, so it's just more so them trying to figure out who the rest of the roster is going to be. So I mean, the people watch them just because they're true Dallas fans, but you don't really get anything from their preseason like other teams do.
Yeah.
So you two should schedule a sit down with NRL in Vegas. that would be interesting.
Yeah. Give me in a meeting, bro. Give me in a meeting.
Yeah, if we get a meeting that give me some opportunity to prep, we'll get that contract. Give us the opportunity, we'll get that contract. Scatology says San Fran and Cowboys are my faves. That's interesting. Those are two teams that should not be in the
Wow, yeah, they
same
hate each
likes.
other because they weren't because it used to be what it was Cowboys, Niners, Saints, and another team in the same division for a while,
Oh, the
right?
same in the same division. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because Seattle was
because
technically
that's
was
what.
AFC West.
Yeah, because we hated because I know like old Saints fans can't stand. Well, I still can't stand the Cowboys. 'Cause they're still close enough. I don't really give a damn about the Niners, but like old school Saints fans can't stand the Niners. Like they can't
Hmm.
stand them. They can't stand them. Um,
Yeah,
let's go ahead into our second to last topic, which is old running backs learn new tricks. Can they learn the new tricks? Both Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott signing new contracts with a new team. Zeke going over to the Patriots, and Dalvin Cook going over to the Jets. Let's first talk about Dalvin Cook to the Jets. First off, why did it take so long for Dalvin Cook to get signed is beyond me. Last
yeah.
year, Dalvin Cook had 1,173 yards. He had 8 touchdowns. He averaged 4.4 yards per attempt. He had 4 straight years of 1,000+ rush yards. And he didn't get signed to the first team that met him. That is crazy to me. And we talked about that just earlier with now Dalvin Cook being with the Jets and how that's a big upside for Salah or Saleh. What's your thoughts on this signing? Is this a great signing? Like, what do you rate it from A to F? What's the rating?
Oh, I mean, at least a B, right?
At least a
how
B,
it's
B
at least a
plus,
B.
B
Like
plus.
how talented he is. It's unfortunately that for whatever reason the running back position is just now the most disrespected position in all of NFL. It's like what happened? How and I almost want to say, is it the running quarterback that's killing the running back?
What it's just value. It's because now because there's so much talent coming out of running back, and especially with more athletic quarterbacks too, is what plays a big factor in it as well. Is that they feel like running backs because their schemes aren't very complicated. It's the same thing. Running back's talent is a lot based off how they can, shiftiness, how they can break tackles, and then if they can catch, especially in today's NFL. But a lot of it comes up to the holes that the offensive line opens up. So like as long as they can read a hole and read their blockers and stuff like that, they're interchangeable. And I don't think it's fair the way that they have been treated, but I also see it from a financial standpoint as to why they don't rate them as high, especially when they're coming into their third contracts. But they should, especially when you have a guy, like I said, like Dalvin Cook, that is coming off of 4 straight years of 1,000+ rushing. And this dude's averaging 4.4 per carry. Do you understand how insane that is? That means you could
Yeah,
run him 3 downs and he's getting the first. I mean, not
yeah,
obviously, but like that's what it's saying.
yeah. That's what he averages basically. No, I totally get that. I just don't understand. I don't understand the evolution of the game right now. Does it make sense? Like for somebody who's watched the game in the 80s, watched the game in the 90s, early 2000s, now the 2020s, it's the evolution is this doesn't make sense. It's so much pressure putting on the running quarterback, which is now in every high school team across America. They they're getting away from just true running backs. They don't have your lead blockers no more. Tight ends are mostly or used to be blockers, and now they're not focusing on blocking. They're trying to be these also wide
Receivers.
receivers, even though they should still be able to block because that's part of your position job. But they're just getting away from that, and it just
And
doesn't make sense.
now athletic players in because I mean running back, wide receivers, cornerbacks, linebackers, safeties are probably some of the most athletic players in the NFL. So running backs in high school now that are like multi-talented, if I'm them, I'm not wanting to play running back if I'm a highly skilled player. I'm trying to if you're short, you're kind of stuck in that position. But like if you got a little bit of height and size to you, I'm either want to switch to the defensive side of things and be a linebacker. If I'm tall, then I want to try and be a wide receiver or a cornerback. Like
Hmm.
that's where it's going to go ahead and take a tumble. If you're a young kid, you might not be thinking about this, but young kids with parents that are involved in what position their kids play, they're not training them to be NFL running backs anymore unless that's just their best position. They're going to want to try and switch them somewhere else based off their size.
Yeah, but so what's going to happen? Are you just going to get away from the running back position?
No, I don't think that. I mean, you always have to have running backs. They're not gonna dwindle out like fullbacks and stuff like that. But just because it's a passing league now doesn't mean that running backs don't have their part in the game. I mean, we saw the same thing with Miami and how they tried to pass, and they did it semi successful. But if they would have had a equivalent run game with their pass, they probably win 12, 13 games last year. Well, okay, maybe that's a little high, but they 11, 12 games last year. Uh, when you talk about the Chargers, they work on the pass but if they had a true third down back, or red zone back, goal line back, um, outside of goodness, why I'm forgetting his name now. I just said it earlier, but outside of their starting running back, they'd be in a better position. It's all about it. Running backs help control the tempo of play. A good running back controls time of possession. They control the abuse in the defensive line and in the trenches, and then their skillfulness to be able to catch the ball and have screens to catch players off guard is highly needed in the NFL.
Okay.
Without that,
Okay.
it yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm going to add on to what you're saying. So I'll wait for you
Yeah,
to finish.
go. Yeah, I'm finished. Go.
But I mean, but listen to what you're saying. That talent is needed. But with how they're evolving that position, what's going to end up happening? Just like you just stated, players are going to want to be more into the receiver sets than the running back set. So what's going to happen is the quality of running back in the next couple of years is not going to be the level it is at now because
Yeah,
those players are going to want to be
in next 5, 10 years for sure, it's going to decrease without
yeah
doubt.
because those players are going to want to be uh, receivers.
Yeah, I
You know
mean
what I'm
we're
saying?
seeing
So
we saw guys like Christian Kirk last year get paid a bag as a mediocre wide receiver too for the Cardinals. Now he played well. I'm not like dogging like I'm not coming about anybody's neck, but like he got paid a bag. Like he was like a top 5 paid wide receiver last year, and like what did he prove with the Cardinals to deserve that contract? They just pay them guys better.
yeah, but I mean, I just think that we're going into the wrong direction. Look, I mean, Josh Jacobs still ain't got a contract. Still, and he led the league. So it's like it's so disrespectful. I think it's
It's
so disrespectful on so many levels.
So to get back to Dalvin Cook, just because this actually skipped over to what I wanted to say at the end, but I think we both agree that the running back situation is ridiculous. I
Hmm.
mean, they have. I do think there is a point where you got to read the market, and like there is a little bit of humbling, and where you do have to meet in the middle. But the fact that like guys that were top 15 in the league, even top 20 in the league, that are just getting blatantly disrespected and getting another contract because they're just like, oh, we'll just find someone next that's just as good. Like they just feel like, oh, we will be able to do that. Uh, the presence is now and the future isn't definable. You have no idea, but you know that you have him right now. They're like, ah, yeah, I ain't paying him. Is crazy to me. But
Very
Dalvin
crazy.
Cook will be running with a trio running back with Brees Hall, Michael Carter. Brees Hall is questionable right now. I'm not sure when he's expected to get fully healthy. But that running back trio of them two, Brees Hall, Dalvin Cook at the number 2 currently on the depth chart, and Michael Carter is going to be a really fun RB trio to watch, and alongside Aaron Rodgers, who makes limited mistakes. That's why I think the Jets are going to be so dangerous. Next up, we're going to talk about the Zeke to the Pats. This one caught me off guard,
Yeah,
mainly
yeah.
because Zeke is a guy that I got overshadowed by Pollard. Respectfully so, because Pollard is very good. Um, but they treated because of Zeke's fumbling and stuff like that he had in prior years, led to Pollard being like that more RB1 situation, someone that they wanted to ride with. But let's
Mhm.
not think that Zeke had a bad year. I don't think Zeke fumbled the ball once last year. I meant to look up that stat
Yeah.
and I forgot.
I
I don't
don't
think he
believe he
did.
actually did.
And he
Yeah,
fixed
yeah,
the issues. He lost some weight. He got back down to his size where when he first came into the league, I think his third year in the NFL, he got back to that size and he looked explosive. He looked thin and he was playing the game really really well. Last year, he finished off with 867 yards, 12 touchdowns, which is a good bit. Red zone attack.
yeah,
I think Jamal Williams had what 15, so he wasn't too far behind the
yeah.
league leading touchdown scorer. And but the that was on only like 220-ish attempts. The
Hmm.
last year, which was in 2019, where he had 300 attempts, which is what your normal like starting RB1 would have, he had 1,357 yards. Now that was way back in 2019. That was 4.5 yards per attempt. And you know
Hmm.
that's 4 years ago, so that is some time to pass. But people have been like throwing shade at Zeke so much after he came off the best season that he's had since 2019. He made
Yeah.
limited mistakes, next to no mistakes, ran the ball hard, was very selfless when it comes to splitting time with Pollard. You didn't hear any complaints come out of his camp about him not getting enough touches. He just accepted it and decided to work with it. And Zeke humbled himself after getting the big bag with Dallas, I think in 2019, where when he started to fall off. And
Hmm.
it feels like he's back to just being him and just trying to play good football, regardless of where his position is. Just when he gets his opportunity, he wants to perform. I don't think this is as big of a splash moment like the Jets got with Cook. I think Cook's going to be an instant factor with the Jets. But I think Zeke running behind Ramondre Stevenson, which I don't even know if you would still put Ramondre ahead of him. I think Zeke's going to be put in the same situation where I think him and Stevenson are kind of the same. I think this is a good spot for Zeke. I would have really have. I want him to come to the Saints personally. Uh,
I mean, when you
what's your
look at
thoughts?
the combined carries of just over 442 carries combined, they still totaled a little bit under 2,000 yards total. And that's even with even with him sharing the spotlight in Dallas, and he's used to sharing the spotlight, so I think he'll be okay with that. I would probably start with Ramondre being the first down back and having Zeke playing that third down back because he does it so well.
He
And
does.
like you said, he didn't fumble. That was last season was the first season in his entire career he didn't fumble the ball not once.
Yep.
And you could tell season before that he only had one, so was working on it. Last season he really worked on it because he had zero. The potential for this is actually really good. Now, as far as it being a big splash, it might not be because it's the position of the team that he went to, but who knows? This may change something.
And it's very possible. I know Nate says I disagree. Cook will be bigger. No, no, no. Cook will be bigger. Cook is definitely a bigger impact. But I think
Oh
Zeke
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah,
I
yeah.
think Zeke is has went from a completely overrated running back to a completely underrated running back. And I'm surprised he didn't get more. This is the first offer that I've heard even spoke about. I mean, we saw Dalvin
Yeah,
Cook
this is
met
the
with
first one, man.
Miami. I think he met with the Cardinals. And then now signed with the Jets. Zeke never, we never heard any rumors at all about him. So,
Absolutely not.
um, we'll see how Zeke does. I think he is one of those guys that is a little bit like upper in age, had a downfall, but I would like to see him play well. But I just think the Pats are just not going to be that organization this year. Like I had the Pats going under 500, and Zeke in this year in today's NFL isn't going to be able to make that difference. But Dalvin Cook is going to be able to make a difference because that gives Rodgers what he wants, which is something that he's used to of a duo now somewhat trio running back front
Mhm.
to be able to push them whenever he's either having a bad game or the weather's nasty. He'll be able to do it.
And that alleviates pressure from the quarterback.
Exactly. And that'll bring us into our last topic, which is going to be the demise of the Pac 12. For those of y'all, I know a lot of y'all in here don't pay attention to a whole lot of college football, but there has been some insane drama going on between the Pac 12, which, according to Nan, which he'll tell us in a second, has been one of the most dominant conferences in all of college sports. And now they're having some issues. Nan, venture out
Yeah,
and
I
tell us
mean,
about
in
this.
in overall NC2A team championships through 2023, the Pac-10, which turned into the Pac-12, has over 553 total championships. It was one of the big dogs for a very, very long time. Like I told Zach when we were having our conversation, our meeting about this to do this live stream, I felt that when they actually expanded from Pac-10 to Pac-12 is actually when the downfall actually started. I don't think they needed to do that because the money was getting stretched too thin. Now the question is why is it things happening? So just recently, there's actually a bunch of reasons. One of the main ones is the commissioner. His name is George Cle- Klevakoff. He presented them with a new membership deal for the teams, which is going to be a media rights deal with Apple. Now, many of the teams saw that in this deal, they were going to a streaming service that is not one of the top 5 streaming services. Now, because of that, they're going to lose viewership. They're going to lose the potential of people actually watching the game across the country. It's not USC, UCLA, Oregon State. None of them wanted this. None of them wanted this at all. So the contract they would initially have received would have been $25 million annually per school. Unfortunately, that figure is way lower than the Big 12 and the SEC. And of course, UCLA, USC, now Colorado, Oregon, and even Arizona to a T. And you could probably throw Stanford in there too. But those teams, which are considered some of the heavy hitters especially when it comes to the basketball side of the game and baseball,
Mhm.
have higher expectations. Now I'm just going to kind of read what this article says. As concerns around visibility on a streaming only platform and a smaller team shares than other conferences, rumors began to get louder of departures by some members. Sure enough, August 4th saw 5 schools: University of Washington, Oregon, Arizona State, Utah, join the 3 schools who have already left, which is UCLA, USC, and Colorado, who announced their departure earlier this year after the season. University of Washington and Oregon will get a reported $30 million per year in a partial share of the Big Ten revenue that will increase annually. The Seattle Times' Mike Voro reported just recently. The Arizona schools in Utah will get full media rights shares of 31.7 million once the Big 12's new contract begins in 2025. Colorado, UCLA, and USC already had negotiated larger annual payouts before the Pac-12 proposal took place for this new deal that's coming into place with Apple. The West Coast Community College Athletic Conference, with hundreds of national championships across nearly every sport in NC2A, simply was dismantled by financials. The 2023-2024 academic year will be the final year of the Pac-12 competition with its full 12-member complement, and it could be the last in 100+ years history of the league. So it's kind of interesting that something such as a streaming service pretty much killed off the entire
Yo,
division.
yes.
Yeah, this it's 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 kind of right now. There's 4 teams that are still technically left in the program. I believe it's Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, and I think Arizona State is what's left in there. And those teams, they're trying to figure out if they should try to band together and bring teams up from a smaller division and then create a new Pac-10 and then possibly go into a new Pac-12 in the future. But there's been rumblings that University of Wisconsin, no, University of Washington, no, Cal and Stanford are talking to the Big Ten about joining the Big Ten in the 2024 or 2025 season. If that happens, then it leaves 2 teams
Everything
who pretty much will
separated.
be stuck. Who'll be stuck. Now, in a different situation, I was listening to Sports Talk Radio here, and I think they had a really good plan for at least Stanford, because of Stanford and how they are as far as the academic side of the game. I think
Hmm.
Stanford should do what Notre Dame did and step away
Yeah.
from the situation at all and become an independent school, because they're very different from the rest of the schools, because their focus, they
Hmm.
do sports is a focus,
But
but that's not where
education
they get
is
the
number
bulk.
one. Yeah,
And they
that's why
have
you go to Stanford.
they get the bulk of their money from their medical endowments, because they have some of the biggest medical endowments in the country coming to an NCAA school. And I think that actually is a smart idea. Just be independent. Now, a team like Cal, they can't function that way, even though they're high when it comes to the technical aspect and what they do for Silicon Valley. But I don't think they will be able to survive in the sports world being independent like that. They'd have to join a different situation, and
Yeah.
possibly even go into the Mountain West, which is where Fresno State and Boise State and all the rest of them are at.
Yeah.
which will
I
be
mean,
a backward step for them.
well, I think the biggest story of all this is just the fact that the way streaming service and stuff like that is going to cause so many changes around the world. I mean, like now that
Mm-hmm.
Amazon has already kind of stuck their nose into the NFL, Apple is starting to do it as well, and all
Yeah.
these things trying to take rights and especially now with NIL, it all depends on who's seen. So like if you're only
Mm-hmm.
playing for a team that only is shown for the rare occurrences on national TV, but primarily on Apple TV, where your viewership might be cut in half, your NIL deals can be cut in half. So like all these things kind of play a part with it, and like where teams will go, and like so as a university trying to decide where they want to be, they don't want to be stuck in a division or a conference where they're limited to their outreach. And
Yes, you definitely don't.
football, I mean, football, when you look at the PAC, it's not like it's been something that's been just absolutely dominating over the last few years, but USC has been a team that's been up and coming. They did lose in the Rose Bowl against Tulane last year, but they did lose their starting quarterback in that game, and that did play a big part. Tulane, was on the up and up. I got to rep New Orleans again. Got to rep Tulane a little bit, but Caleb Williams is probably going to be the number one, if at least top five quarterback player
Yeah.
drafted in next year's draft. And the fact that you're losing that talent like that, Oregon's always been a semi decent team that always brings a lot of media presence because of their location being in the same state as Nike, which is in Oregon.
Oregon, yeah.
You're pulling out of a lot of zones that are popular for players to go to. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily for football at the moment, but they are popular big time name schools. And because of this contract sound by the higher ups of the Pac-12, they're fumbling the bag on this one. They took a risk, and it's instantly not paying off. And the whole Deion Sanders thing with Colorado, they went. Let's see, I'm looking at their record right now. They went 1-11 last year. Deion Sanders bringing his whole crew over. I mean, you assume they're definitely going to do better than that. I was surprised that they
Yeah.
let him out so easily. I think that again, that's because of his fame being the Deion
Yeah.
Sanders. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But uh, why would you want to go if you're a player? Why would you want to go play for a team? Because now money's involved in college football. Why would you want to go play for a team that's limiting your reach? Because
Oh yeah, because it's always been
even
about
for
visibility.
even for NFL teams, you know how many
Yeah.
teams play every Saturday and Friday and whatnot for college? Like
So
and
I
and
know.
you're adding another complication for coaches to be able in the pros and scouters in the pros to be able to go find you. I mean, they're going to go to games. They're going to find you if you're good enough and like all this stuff. But like, I mean, what's the percentage of college football players that turn to the pros? Let's look. Uh,
It's like 3%. I mean, while you're looking up that, when you look at the shares of what Apple brings to the table, they're ninth in streaming services around the world. So they by subscriber, they only have 40 million. I know that's a lot, but when it comes to the numbers that of eyes that watch football
wow.
regularly, that's not even comparison. That's not even in comparison. I mean, because you have Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus are top three in America. Then you have HBO Max, Paramount, Hulu, then Apple. There's other ones that are in there, but they're from the UK and Australia that round out that top 10. But Apple's if Apple does a deal that is potentially kind of in the background with the Disney situation, that could help them bolster this situation. But I don't know if it's going to be the same thing because
The only way Apple becomes something that's relevant is if they do a package deal, like how you said, just like how Disney did with Hulu. It's the only way because Apple has always been like, even with their iPhones and stuff like that, they've always been trying to they've wanted to be like a special niche group organization to where it's like, oh, we're better than the rest. Come join us. We're not partnering with anybody else. We're just better. You just got to trust us.
yeah.
And that might work with phones because technology is built like that. And they have a rep with technology as far as like editing and things like that. But in TV, you do not have that rep, bro. Like you don't have that.
Oh
That's
no,
not you. You aren't that guy, pal. You aren't that guy.
no.
Like
Well, like that's what I was saying. If this other deal takes place, that could strengthen their hold because their total net worth will probably triple because they're looking at possibly buying all of Marvel.
yeah. Well, Apple is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean that will triple it, but it's still like I mean, we have your nerds that watch football and stuff like that, but it's not like that's like going to extremely like gravitate towards that field of things. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they're trying to combine two different things that don't normally mesh together, where of comics and sports and superhero movies and sports. I mean, you look at your majority of sports fans, they're guys that like action movies, dramas, horror movies, and stuff like that. And then you mix in with superheroes, where they still have there, but I mean, the percent it has to be around 10% of
Yeah.
combined that like both. It can't be very high, and that's why I feel like it could be a big L for the
Oh, yeah.
Pac-12
Yeah.
and for Apple, and especially because we're all still buying iPhones because that is what the popular thing is. Like we know. I mean, I won't ever switch my iPhone just 'cause I'm used to the
Right,
interface. I'm
yeah.
used to all this
That's
stuff.
all y'all.
But yeah, I know it's all me. But like the to get like techie with it, but like the IU and like the actual like technology that's put into your phones, Samsung and Google are a leap above them in every single way.
Mhm.
Every single way. Their interface just isn't as pretty or isn't as accessible
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
market with other companies and stuff like that. It's not sports fans aren't going to give a damn about that.
No, that's not their
Sports fans
focus. I
aren't
mean,
it's not their focus.
like I said, it's one of those things where once all these teams leave, I believe most of them will be exiting by 2025, which, like I said, could leave just University of Washington and Stanford in the mix. But they're now they have to go and figure out, do we still try to stay as a conference and stay the Pac-12, and or do we allow these teams to leave, the last two teams just to leave, or do we build around these two teams and pull up teams from smaller conferences like Boise State and Fresno State and University of Tulsa and like these teams that have made noise within the last 5 years in leaps and bounds and
Yeah.
big like made big noise,
Well,
but it still won't be reminiscent of what the Pac-12 Pac-10 was before it became the Pac-12 one, because the names are still smaller, and those teams have contracts with ESPN, with what's the other sport, some of the other sports companies. But I know Boise
yeah,
State, Fresno
CBS,
State,
FSN
Tulsa,
and yeah.
they all have
Mhm.
contracts with ESPN. So how does that work? How does that work out? You're gonna have to wait till those contracts expire, and
Yeah.
they do like 5-10 year deals.
Well, yeah, it's another big risk for Apple, and and not to get on the tech side of things, but like it feels like a big risk for Apple to approach them, and they probably handed the PAC a bag, like for them to be able to
Oh
be
yeah.
deliberate just for them. PAC was trying probably or yeah, PAC was looking at the way Amazon kind of took over Thursday night, and I feel like they weren't listening to feedback. They were looking at numbers where the Amazon numbers
Hmm.
probably went up, but everybody hated it. And we got to
Yeah.
remember, college football might be the most fun football to watch. I know a lot of y'all Aussie guys that are in here don't mess with college football, but like college football has a great viewership. But
Yeah.
to go and spend more money, and then college kids having to go spend more money on services to watch their team play and stuff like that makes a big difference. Um,
Yeah. It definitely makes a
Now,
big difference.
so do you think we'll see a complete demise of the Pac-12? And if so, when? Like, how many years from now?
It feels
Or
like
do you
it's
think
kind of
they'll revert? Do we know how long the contract is with Apple?
with Apple. It doesn't say. I didn't see what the contract is, and I didn't find it. And I might be the type to find it. Um, but as for right now, let's see. I want to believe that
Cheers,
the
Futology.
because I've watched so much of the Pac-10 before it became a Pac-12. It's hard for me to believe that the Pac-10 is going to be done with. You know what I'm saying? But it's not something that's never happened before. There are other divisions that have existed that are no longer existing because things like this happen. Teams left to go to bigger conferences for more money, for more exposure. So it happens. It's just something where you look at a division that's a conference that is so historic with some of the greatest players that ever come out of the sport of different sports, some of the best Olympic athletes to come out of their schools, come out of the Pac-12. It's just 500, like I said, 553 total championships for NC2A across the board.
Yeah,
You,
because
you just don't, you
it
don't
it does
expect
it
something
does
like that.
because it doesn't just pull them out of, like, they get out the Pac-12, the school. It's not just football. It's all sports, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because and so the way a lot of stuff
That's where
happens.
it's gonna be That's where it's gonna be a little bit more complicated, because Pac-12 is dominant in other sports, or competitive in other sports. So they're gonna have to figure that out too.
So
There's
from
got
what
to
I see
be
right
some type of
now,
meeting.
Apple offered the members a 5-year deal with an annual base rate initially of 23 million per school. A counter offer came into play, which caused them to lift their initial offer. I keep saying with a T, offer to 25 million, with incentives based on different subscriber settings or subscriber numbers, kind of what they did with MLS League Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
so
think this is one of like the stories on here, to where, in our podcast today, where it's like this is big news. I mean, we can see the end of a conference. We can see a full split.
oh, something just popped up. Let me see what this is.
Yeah.
Check out chat, and I'll get back to you right quick.
Yes. Uh, let's see. Scatology with Jez and Jabi. Hey, Scatology, do you have your own channel as well? I see it says with Jez and Jabi. Do y'all do y'all's own like podcasts and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was
I
on
didn't
that too.
I didn't think I get to formally welcome, but welcome to Real Fan Sports. My name is Zach. We're here with Nonpfixion. I need to add the names onto our channel, but appreciate you stopping by and staying in during this whole entire podcast, man. It's been fun getting to know you and talking with you. Were you able to get into the sleepers league? If not, let me know if you have any problems with it. Charles said only college football team I'll watch is Alabama or Michigan. Yeah, it's not as big for y'all out there. Yeah, Alabama, Michigan. Michigan's a fun school to go to, man. Like a lot of there's like a lot, like the Michigan and Ohio State rivalry is probably like one of the bigger rivalries in college sports. It's really fun to watch. Brent Davis, if you're still in the building, Brent, what is good with you, baby? I hope you're doing well. Brent says, but will we ever see the likes of Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, Emmett Smith, Walter Payton, etc. ever again due to the progression style of the game nowadays? The easy answer is no. No, we won't. I don't think we'll ever see a completely dominant running back. I think the last that we've seen of that was Adrian Peterson. I think he was the last hope to being just a running back that just dominates the league. And the reason for that is because of the progression of the NFL. Like, the NFL has moved in such
And
ways to where the pass is utilized so much more. The offensive schemes for passing is worked so much more. The running back is not, you can't just be a running back no more, just like a tight end can't just be a blocker anymore. You have to have hands. That's just like how Dallas Clark was such a great tight end for the Indianapolis Colts back in the Manning days, but he'd probably be mediocre at best nowadays because he was known for his defense and be able to catch a ball every now and then. But in today's league, you have to be big. You have to be like a power forward in basketball with good hands and a little beefier to play tight end. And Dallas Clark was a little bit shorter. So it is developmental. We won't see those same things again, but it doesn't mean that the running back situation isn't the same. I know you had something to say. I cut you off a couple times, Don.
no, I was going to say yes and no about will we ever see those players again. Here's the reason why I think we technically probably could have already started to see them, but because of what they're doing with the quarterback position is the reason why we're not seeing that. Because players who come in and are those athletic freaks are being forced to play quarterback because everybody wants a running quarterback. So I think
Yeah.
there's potential where we could have seen those players, but because the emphasis is on the quarterback position, and now I can say it, the next great black hope at quarterback of being the running quarterback, we would have seen that already.
Yeah. I think
it's
so
the
too. It's possible.
it's the unfortunate part about the evolution of the game because we're instead of just evolving and having different styles in the game, everybody's like, oh they have that, we want that, we
I
want
mean,
that.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing with the NBA too. I mean, like you look like at centers in the league. Like, don't get me wrong, we're in a weird center dominant league right now, kinda with Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. But
Mhm.
would Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis be as dominant if they played in the 2000s, the early 2000s, with Shaquille, Yao, Jermaine O'Neal, um, uh, I know I'm missing a whole bunch of names, but like guys, Bakembe Mutombo, and all these guys, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be different, but I think because of that part of the game that's, like you said, in that's happened in, uh, high school and all these different travel teams that we see now, especially with YouTube, players who probably shouldn't be quarterbacks and
Our
probably should
quarterbacks
be
now.
running backs are now quarterbacks because not only are teams forcing them to do that, parents are doing that because they know the quarterback gets the most attention.
Yeah, they get the most bucks. I mean,
Yeah.
like, and that's probably the most unfortunate thing about all sports, but especially American sports, is it comes down to dollar bills. It's not. You'll be a millionaire regardless if you invest your money right, regardless of what position you play. I mean, shoot, even practice
Oh,
squad
yeah.
guys get paid $300,000 a year. They make money just to practice.
Yeah.
But when it comes to making that big bucks and showing your potential and becoming a Hall of Fame and becoming a Pro Bowler and stuff like that, they're gonna try and push them towards these positions that are getting a highlighted board, which are quarterbacks,
Mhm.
receivers, cornerbacks, and that's how it gets pushed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, is you have anything else? I know you say you were looking at some with the Pac-12. You have anything else to say about Pac-12?
So from another sports channel, they actually have an interview, which I'm kind of listening to right now, that they did a live stream yesterday, and the deal, technically the Pac-12 deal, is or has failed. Like
Oh,
it was just announced yesterday, and I didn't
oh
see this
wow.
yet. I didn't see this article yesterday. I didn't see the article yesterday,
So the deal
but
with
I guess
Apple failed.
yeah. So Michael Crow, who was like the president of Arizona State, he was he was trying to kind of force everybody to continue this deal, and I guess it's because of some personal relationships. Some other, so now it's like some other BS is coming out with the situation. Like, okay,
As
so
always.
it's some friendships trying to wash each other's hands, and now teams are like, well, the deal doesn't make sense. The deal never would have made sense. Now,
Hey, shout out. Hold up. Shout out whoever called them out on their BS. Shout
yeah,
out.
and so now the unfortunate part about that, the three teams, the four teams that have already talked about leaving, if they're still leaving, your heavy hitters are not gone. So you still
Mm-hmm.
have to replace these teams. And it's like, what? I'm gonna have to because I know we're gonna do another live stream. So I'm gonna do some more research into it and find and hopefully by the time we do the next one, which will probably be like a week or two from now, maybe 2 weeks. So by the time we can do that one, I have a lot more information, just kind of a recoup for the stream to say what we see as the final situation with the Pac-12, which will probably be the
Definitely.
Pac-8 by who knows by next by next
Definitely.
season.
Definitely. So, what we want to say, guys, this stream is some was kind of a test that we want to try and do a little more often. We're thinking about, obviously, if you're a subscriber to this channel, if y'all been around with us for a while, we do go live during Monday and Thursday night NFL football. We got the regular
Mhm.
season coming up in what 3 weeks now, so all that's going to get back onto play and onto the field. But we do want to add another stream if not every week, every other week, something like that, to where we can just kind of have a conversation, talk with you guys and stuff like that, bring up different topics that are going around in this week of sports or just whatever. We've had plenty of ideas. If y'all like this idea and y'all like this little debate show, um, please, hit that like button, number one, on the stream. Do that. That helps us a lot. It helps with letting us know that y'all actually enjoy this type of content. Also, if you have any ideas on some topic that you'll like us to talk about, hit us up. You can comment it on one of our previous streams, one of our previous videos. I want to start posting more channel posts. I appreciate the hearts. See the hearts in the chat. Much love, much love. Um, message us on Instagram, message us on Twitter. If you're on our Discord, you can message us there. I'll drop a link for our Discord too real fast, just so y'all can hop in there as well. Of some topics that y'all like to see us talk about, and we'll do some research and give you our opinion on it. We want to start doing more of these debate shows and just conversation shows like this. We would like to also bring in some other YouTubers, some other fans, some of you guys every now and then, to join us in on these debates and things like that. Like, this is, a really, really cool part of our channel that we want to start really expressing outside of just our normal play-by-play and reaction videos. This is something that we truly enjoy. This is the conversations that me and Nan have. Like, we talked about all this just now, but as me and Nan were discussing yesterday what topics we want to talk about, we talked about all this last night for like 4 hours. We were up till like 4 in the morning. We were like, holy, we gotta we need to get off, because I'm gonna go ahead and drop a link right here. Let me copy it so y'all can join our Discord. This is right here. This is the Discord link. Go ahead and click that if you have Discord. If you don't have Discord, download Discord. It's a really easy way. There's a lot of different channels. You can message in the sports channel, where we have it separated between MLB and NBA, NFL, NRL, rugby union, cricket, all that stuff. You can send us links for videos you'd like us to react to. You can send us links to articles that you'd like to get our opinion on, all that stuff. And then y'all can also communicate with each other. Like, that's the biggest thing that we're wanting this channel to be, is to be a community channel. Like we don't just want y'all to come here for like news and stuff like that, because we're not professionals, but we want to build a community to where we all have fun and talk within each other, man, as long as it's respectful. We'll have some future videos of possibly some watch alongs, all this stuff.
Technically, I am a professional. I went to school for television and news, so he might not be, but I'm a professional.
So I'm a bum. Nonfiction's a professional. I'm a bum. This bastard. You know what I'm saying? You see how Non just talk, just makes me look bad in front of everybody. Golly. Damn.
That's what I'm looking for. Now go ahead.
Let's see. Dr. Rick says, can't call it. Been getting overtime hours in. How y'all been? Hey, Dr. Rick, get your money, baby. Get your money.
Get your paper.
Oh. Hey, do you think, Dr. Rick? I appreciate you for spending some of your free time with us, man. You know it's all love always. Brent Davis says 100% agree. It's obvious that the progression of both sports have changed. The center, wing, forwards, running backs, tight end position for good. Sad but true, because I love my hard nose running. Facts, Brent. Facts, dude. Why does it feel like I'm 27 now? I'm about to be 28 coming up soon. But like it's like, oh, now I'm the old head. Like, I already know, like, within like 3 to 4 years, I'm be telling kids like, oh, y'all don't know about them good running back days when they used to run the ball at the middle. Now y'all just want to throw the ball all fancy and sidearm and shit. We used to run the ball up the middle like men. Like, that's what we're about. That's what we're about to do. And then they're all gonna look at me and they're gonna be like,
I mean, but I do agree. Just and I'm being older than you. The fact that I've seen so many great, talented running backs, and to see that part of the game slightly getting dumbed down to where now most of them going to be glorified blockers is so sad, man. It's so freaking sad.
Yeah, they're going to get evaluated better at their pass block than their actually rushing ability. That's the craziest thing. Because and I even caught myself today because I was looking at the report from the Saints combined practice with the Chargers, And Jamal Williams has been looking horrible in the pass block, and we just signed Daryl Williams, former Kansas City Chiefs, former LSU running back, and he's been looking great. And I was like, they better bump that dude up. I'm like, that's my thought. It's like, but it's crazy how all that goes, man. Um, Charles says y'all hear about the Marlowe injury news. No. Wait? Okay. Why do I feel stupid, Charles? I'm stupid.
Are you talking about
Who's Marlowe? Marlowe who?
is Marlowe reference to Marlon Humphrey? Is that what you're talking
Maybe
about? The Ravens cornerback? I mean, cornerback who's
cornerback. Yeah,
supposed to be
probably
having
so.
season like he's supposed to miss the regular season or time into the regular season with
That's
a
tough.
foot injury for the Ravens.
I had not seen that, but that is tough. That's definitely tough. Brent said
Yeah, I just
low
searched up. Yeah,
post forward / centers game back when basketball was inside out wise. Yeah, very different. I don't know if Nate's still here. Nate did send us a link, and Nate, unfortunately, Nate, are
is
you
that an
still here?
Australian
Nate,
only league?
Australian only. I'm hosting, so I can't just switch my VPN over to Australia so I can show it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I can't watch it. It's Australia only. Good old Australia. Want to be worldwide, but don't want anyone worldwide to see it. That should be y'all's slogan. That should be y'all's slogan. It kills me, man. I'm just waiting for Bathurst to get the same way. I'm just waiting for it. Now that everything on Bathurst is blowing up, all of a sudden we're not gonna be able to watch Bathurst.
Okay, this says Ravens Pro Bowl cornerback Marlon Humphrey was set to have surgery to repair a foot injury and commit sometime into the regular season. Head coach John Harbaugh said August 16th yesterday. So that sucks.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
I do want to go ahead and add this for those of y'all have popped in. I need to get Notorious too. Next time he pops in, I'll have to or maybe I can try to find a way to DM him. So last year we did a fantasy football league with Real Fan Sports. So we have filled up our first league, but we are looking to fill up a second league. Right now, I think we have 3 players in. We would like to get at least 8. If we get close to 8, I'll run some double teams or I'll just find some people to come and help us and join it. But if you are looking to do some fantasy football this year for free, it's for free for you. But if you were to win, then you do get a prize that will be sent from both me and Nonpfixion from the Real Fan Sports Channel. Last year, we awarded Nate with a customized pint glass with his favorite team and RFS champion, Roman numerals, the year that he won. So we will give a prize. We're not sure if it's going to be the same thing, something different. We're kind of keeping it flexible. It just all depends on how the channel goes and all this stuff. But we do want to give back and show some love. Come take part on it. This is the link for it that's going to come down below. You can join this league here. Oh, I didn't see you already put it. But you can join this league here. Try to fill up those gaps. I would like to try and get that filled before the end of next week. That way we can have the draft done before the start of the NFL season. If it does not get started before the Friday leading up to the NFL season, then it just will not exist. I believe that Friday is going to be August 1st. So we got 2 weeks to get it filled up to at least 8 spots. So if you or any friends, family, anyone that likes fantasy football and just wants to come tune in and have some fun, please go ahead and join that. Once you join, I'll get everybody set up. I will invite y'all to a private Discord channel where everybody in the fantasy league can communicate, talk shit, all that stuff. I'll set up a as well as a voice link if y'all want to watch the games on Sunday and talk crap while y'all watching the games, all that stuff. It's a really fun experience, a cool way to help build the community, not only for us, but also to meet people from all over the world and fans of different teams. Please join it, man.
You never know. You just like how me and Zach met through Fortnite. Yes, Fortnite.
We literally met through Fortnite.
you never know what kind of friendship you can build with somebody you meet online. Hopefully in a positive manner.
Big facts.
And then just lastly, we do know that Eagles played the Browns today. The final score is 18-18, ended in tie basically.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Slim, join the fantasy league, bro. Slim, I know you got to play fantasy football. Come join the fantasy league. I'll drop the link one more time. I know we have it up there twice, but I'll drop it one more time for you, Slim. Uh, get into
He
fantasy
said,
City, man. Be some fun. Um, Charles says, if I win, I want to smoke that Ben Girls pack. Charles, you smoke whatever pack you want, brother. But you ain't winning. Like, you out your mind. I'm not playing this year. Last year I was messing with y'all. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let somebody else win because I'd hate to win my own league. Like, I ain't playing with y'all now. Y'all going down. Y'all going down. Um, Brent says, "Go Boomers, go Bills. Better luck next year. NRL season, Tiger. Yeah, put my poor Tigers, bro. They're trash. Oh my goodness. Um, we'll talk about that another time. But truly, Non, you had anything else to say before we cut things loose here?
thank you to all the new subscriptions in the last couple of days. Kind of been crazy. The numbers kind of been crazy. So thank you for that. We appreciate each and every one of you. Without you guys, there is no us. We can't express that anymore. Without you guys, there is no us. Please, thank you for checking out the live stream. If you have not already, go to our page. We have close to 300 videos
It's a lot.
of edited
It's a lot.
content. Please check out our edited content. We do reactions, and some of the reactions might be sports you've never seen before. Check them out. Please check them out. There's a reason why people subscribe to the channel and they like our reactions, so you might just like them too. So go ahead and check those reactions out, please, and share them with your friends.
That's right, man. I appreciate all of y'all for being here, man. It's been such a blessing to help grow our stream and
Mm-hmm.
grow our channel the way we have, man. Being such close friends, man. Every one of y'all that pop in every single week or every other week or once a month, it doesn't matter. Like, y'all are family to me. I appreciate y'all for all being here. This is Real Fan Sports. My name is
Man,
Zach. I'm
my
here
name
with
is Nonpfixion.
Nonfiction. Cheers.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
We out, y'all.
Appreciate you. We love you. Peace out.
Up the wise. I don't know if I did that right, but I did. Never switch. Never switch up, Brent. Hey, thank you, Slim. Much love, fellas. Appreciate y'all. Catch y'all